Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Knights of the Dawn podcast. I'm Jessica,
And I'm Megan.
and today we are here to talk about chapters 24 through 28 of Book 4 of Fablehaven Secrets of the Dragon Sanctuary. I got it right this time! Yes! It is not Keys of the Dragon Sanctuary, it is Secrets of the Dragon Sanctuary.
Jessica usually has to have 2 takes at
At
least.
the minimum. I got it right, though, this time first
I
try.
could tell on your face, you're like, say the right thing.
I was locked in. I was locked so hard. I was like, I am
trying
going to say
really
this
hard.
right.
Good job.
Thank
you did
you.
good.
I'm very proud of myself.
But hey, we've made it to the very end of the book.
Man,
This is crazy.
it's been a year in the progress.
Frick, we're at the end.
We are.
We've made it.
We made it.
Welcome to the end of book 4. It's crazy.
It's a fun ride, this
Yeah,
one. Ooh.
there's a couple
Sorry.
of twists and turns in these chapters.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's get right into it then.
Yep.
We start on chapter 24, Temple. And where we left off last time is that Seth and everyone other than Kendra and Warren, who is hurt in the knapsack, were with Thronus, and Thronus struck a deal with them that if they went and get these certain figurines from the temple, then he would help them. And so, and they have like those collar things on them to make them so they tell the truth. And then Kendra got help from the Fairy Queen and met a new friend, Raxtus, who's a dragon,
Our best boy.
who is basically a fairy dragon, I guess you could call him.
That's what everybody else calls him derogatorily.
Pretty much, yeah. So yeah, Raxus is the best, and he's been helping her, and it introduced her to the Astrids, and that's interesting. So
All of the chapter titles in this one are very on the nose. Like the first one
they're
we have
very succinct.
Temple. Gee, wonder where they're going this chapter. And then we have
Just one word, that's it.
just one word for all of the rest of them. Well,
except for the last one.
except for the final one. But all of them, like we can talk about it at the end. Very on the nose. Very,
Yeah.
very clearly showing what's going to actually happen.
Okay, so they meet up just outside the Dragon Temple, and they meet up with Kendra, and
Although they were very stressed because though Kendra knew where Seth and the others were,
that's true.
they did not know where Kendra was.
That
They were kind of be like,
is- yeah.
so
Just gonna
dragon
hope-
tracks were near her footprints. I think Mara coming in clutch.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
did track down
Mara
where she
was
was
coming
in
in
the
clutch.
ravine.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They found her tracks in the ravine, crossing those of a dragon. So they're like, okay, panic.
A little concerning.
There's some concern, but there's no blood, so we'll be cautiously optimistic. They go to the fairy shrine again, find Kendra's footprints, which Mara must have been toeing the line on that one because Raxus
Yeah.
got her pretty darn
really close to the.
So Mara
the
must have been
shrine.
just like pushing the boundary. Fairy Queen, I
Like,
can imagine
please.
just standing there like Zeus with a lightning
It's
bolt,
like,
just
please don't strike
go
me
forward.
down.
I swear to Dandelion Fluff. I like she
You
was
want to
probably
become
toeing
one
the
with
line.
one with nature, Mara.
Yes. So yeah, I imagine she was just, but yeah, they found Kendra's footprints there, and again with the dragon. So they're just like, well, why is she getting ride from dragon? Like, because they can tell it's,
Yeah.
they think it's a young dragon because his footprints are so small, but
Yeah,
they're just like,
They don't know
what's
he's
going
fully
on
grown."
here?
yeah.
But yeah, so
It's
finally,
just Raxtus.
they're like, is she gonna be okay once she mentions that she needs to get to the dragon temple, or do we need to be concerned? No, you don't, because Raxus again is best boy.
Raxus is the best dragon.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I'm in a best boy mindset because
Yeah, why do you... Oh, my gosh, I know why you're saying that. Okay, I guess... Did you really have to bring this up?
Yes, we did.
Okay, fine. So, the reason... I'm going to explain this really quickly so we
Yeah.
don't go too much of a tangent.
Yeah.
But the reason Jessica is saying the best boy is because over the past few weeks, our local movie theater has been doing a Twilight movie marathon. And Jessica, before the last couple weeks, had never seen Twilight.
'Tis one of my flaws, I've been told.
Yeah, well, we remedied that because we went to every single one. And ones we didn't going to go see in the theater, we watched before the next one came out. So it was like every week there was the next movie.
Yeah, I've seen
And-
Megan 3 times in the past 3 days, which
Yeah.
is very uncommon.
Yeah,
for us.
today's
Usually we just text.
Wednesday. On
And-
Monday, we went and saw Breaking Dawn Part 1. Yesterday, we saw Breaking Dawn Part 2 to finish it off. And Jessica is very much still Team Jacob and is obsessed
Well,
with Jacob.
Besides that, when I'm saying best boy, I'm referring mostly to Seth. Seth is best boy.
Seth is a character also in Twilight,
Also
not
in Twilight.
just Seth Sorensen.
He's also yes, this is true.
This,
oh, you're
okay,
totally
let me
right.
tell you,
You're
Seth
totally right.
in Twilight is a werewolf as well. So that's
Yes.
why she's referring to him as best boy, because he's
such
also a
good
dog.
boy. He's such a good boy.
Okay, well.
But yes, we will move on. No spoilers for Twilight here. But I just wanted to if
gosh.
you guys hear me say best boy reference to Raxus again, it's because
Please.
they give similar vibes.
Just a little
Just-
bit less.
Loyal.
You can only say best boy like a few times without it to start being a little weird.
Okay, yeah, I'll stop now.
It's okay. I don't know why we had to bring that up, but okay. Yes.
That's fair.
it's
but
just whatever.
It's been fun though. We've been hanging out a lot.
It's been good.
It's been good.
Okay. So, yes, they meet up with Kendra, figure out she's been making friends with a nice dragon.
Happy the dragon.
They kind of catch each other up on what's been going on a little bit.
It's like, hey, fun fact, we're not dead, but we also might be if we say a single lie.
Yeah.
So, Kendra, if you want to get any dirt on your brother, now is the time.
Well, I mean, he could just not talk, but yes.
This is true, but still.
But it's really hard for Seth not to talk sometimes.
That is true. That is the truest.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, they are equipped. They have some adamantine. I'm going to go with that.
Adamant?
Adamantine.
Yeah.
Blades and spears to help them out on their journey.
From
Supplied
Thronus.
by our sponsor, Sky Giant Corporation.
Corporation.
I don't know.
Dictatorship. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I was trying to go for some kind of like, oh, today's sponsor
He's
is
not a-
Thronus.
He's not a capitalist.
That's true.
Would
There's
you
something
like
there.
to rent a griffin?
Rent a griffin at Thronus.com.
There we go.
That's today's sponsor, guys.
If you don't pay, you get turned into a pie.
Cooked into a pie, yeah. All right, moving on. So yeah, so they decide, well, we're not getting any younger, might as well forge ahead.
Yeah.
It's not going to be safe for anybody to stay outside. They want to make sure that the dragons don't have like a tripwire system to alert them in case of, oh, somebody's entering the temple. Wee-oo, wee-oo, wee-oo.
Wonder if they noticed when Patton went in.
They were
I
probably
have so many questions about that.
they were probably too scared.
Scared. I mean, maybe he slew a couple dragons while he was at the Dragon Sanctuary.
Yeah,
I don't know.
the champions we're encountering in this one are new. They had to. There are JV team. Varsity team
we
got
don't
wiped out by
know
Patton.
we don't know if Patton killed the
We don't. But it's fun to
Guardians.
speculate that he did. And this is just like the
I feel
JV
like we
team. They
would
had to.
know that though.
Yeah, well, it was slayings. We don't know what other dragons he's killed.
We also don't know if he went to other dragon sanctuaries. Anyway, this is all speculation.
Completely. But it's fun.
Kind of morbidly funny part. Thronus gives them some dragon's bane,
Mm-hmm.
and Seth is like, "Well, if you get swallowed, just hold on tight to a bag, and you can take it down."
Bring it down from the inside. Wait, what's the
Yup.
quote? Jarvis, you ever heard the story of Jonah? I would not consider him a role model, sir.
Yeah.
Seth is Tony Stark, confirmed.
Don't know about that one, but
So yeah, let's see.
oh, Thronus also repaired Mendigo.
How kind of
So-
him, who was like split in half by his
Yeah,
fall into the
he,
ravine.
like,
He was
Split in
messed
half,
up.
His arm broke off. Like he was in rough shape. So that was nice of Thronus.
Indeed.
Throw in an extra.
Yeah, because he's not
Perk.
just a sky giant. He has like some serious magic skills. He's
He
he's
does.
a mage, sage.
Probably
There
like
was
a mage. Yeah.
There was a word they used to describe him, but I can't remember what it is now.
Yeah.
All right, so they're going in.
Oh,
They've
Tanu gives them some fire
yes.
resistance potions.
Resistance, yes.
And Seth is like, why not fireproof? And Tanu's like, okay, take what you can
You
get.
want to be the potion master? Here, take the bag. You
You get what
do
you
the
get,
potions.
and you don't throw a fit, Seth.
He's like, dude, we're going up against dragons, like the
Like,
most
I'm
magical of any creature.
Doing the best I can.
Take what you can get.
And that's basically what Trask is like. He's like, well, something is better than nothing, so just drink it and we'll go in.
Yeah. What else was it besides? It was fire resistant,
a gaseous potion for everyone.
but they also got some protection from electricity.
Yeah.
And what was the other? I thought there was something else in those potions.
Oh, it also says a jolt of courage.
That's what it was to
help
counteract
against dragon terror. Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
Nice. Also, little side note that I liked here. When they're getting ready to go into the temple, Trask tells Seth to call back Mendigo. And I think that's just like a fun little tidbit to remind her that Mendigo's loyalty is first and foremost to Kendra and to Seth.
To the Sorensens, yeah.
To the Sorensens is his base loyalty. Because that's how the Fairy Queen programmed him. So, like, if Seth gave the order to scout around, then Seth, like, maybe if they'd said, okay, you have to obey orders from Trask and Mara and them, but it might just be it might just be simpler to say, okay, have Seth call him back just because his authority trumps everybody else anyways. Just a little side note that I liked.
I didn't think of that.
Also, sassy Seth, when everybody has to gather back around because they were all looking for Kendra, hoping she'd be nearby. Tanu and Dugan get back, and they're all, like, panting because they were spread out. And Seth goes, you guys are all warmed up. I hear a jog is just the thing before fighting dragons. Do you want to do some stretches? Everybody ignores him, and I love it. I just wanted to have that tidbit in there.
He's filling in for Warren. They've been lacking in jokes.
Yes.
He's like, I gotta be a little more sarcastic than usual.
He has to fill the Burgess.
He has to
fill the Burgess shoes.
He doesn't have anyone to bounce off of, so he just has to do it himself.
He's doing a great job. You're doing great, buddy. You're doing great.
He's got to put it all on his back and lift it.
He is the he is the mental health.
Yeah. They're also handing out some, like, weapons or stuff, and someone gives Kendra a knife, and she says, what am I supposed to do with this? Stab. Seth suggested.
I can see his face too. He's like, stab.
He's like,
Come
on, Kendra.
You use the pointy end and poke.
You stab your enemy. And I'm like, you know what? It's kind of fair. Were you supposed to use that against a dragon?
That's fair. All right. So, yeah, they get into
They go into the temple, and one of the first things they have to do is basically, like,
rappel
down a little cliff.
And Kendra's like, nope, I'm going to go backpacking for this one. And she literally goes into the backpack.
And then Mara carries her down.
Which
It's funny because Seth is like, I wonder how Kendra's going to do with this. And then when she pops out of the knapsack, he's like, hey, you cheated.
It's really funny.
Because he went down, but, you know,
and I mean,
different solutions.
Good for Seth. He's like, I'm going to learn some practical skills along with my shadow charming.
Seth wouldn't miss out on rock climbing.
Mr. Log.
That's true.
Log stair summiter.
Yeah, he did that without a rope when he was 11. He's fine to do that.
Yeah, he is fine to do this. Yeah, so they all get down. There's an exchange between Seth and Gavin while Kendra's still at the top.
Kendra's
that's
like
really
one of the
hilarious.
last people to come down. Go ahead.
So Seth gets to the bottom. It's just him, Gavin, and I think Trask.
Probably Trask.
Yeah, Trask and maybe Tanu. He's down there and he's like, I have been presented with a fascinating opportunity here.
Yep.
I can't lie. You can't lie, can you, Gavin? How do you feel about my sister?
And Gavin's like, I don't think this is really the time.
Is this the time?
And Seth is like, I think this is the perfect time. Since when are you a matchmaker? I'm just curious. If you must know, yes, I'm very interested in Kendra. I can't wait to see where our relationship goes. Well, you all know what happens, so I'm just going to say it. You freaking...
Yeah.
bleep word, whatever. You know? This is a family-friendly show, so I'm not going to say the words that I'm thinking, but you can fill
they're
in
not
the blanks.
pretty.
They're accurate.
Oh, very. Can't argue with that.
Anyway,
no, I'm just
we'll get to that later, but
rereading this knowing is just like even just the entire book. It just puts such a different spin on it.
Yeah. We can talk about it later when we get to it, but yeah. No, it really like reading that was he's just the way he has to dance around what he says is
masterfully
crazy.
Done. And of course,
I can't wait to see where our relationship goes. But he's meaning it in a more like I don't know, like he's not being specific enough that he's like lying.
And also, Seth gave him a perfect out by saying, "Are you interested in my sister? Not do you like
her?
Are you in love? Do you love her?
Was,
you want to kiss her?"
It was just vague enough that he could do it. So yeah, interesting.
Jerk.
Oh yeah, and then Seth is like, I think someone has a crush on you to Kendra. And then she's like, you didn't say anything to him. He didn't get strangled. I think he's got it bad.
The fact that Kendra is like simultaneously trying to hold herself back from strangling him and like hugging him is hysterical.
Yeah.
She's like, I appreciate that you are trying to do a good thing, but don't ever do that again.
And she's like, don't talk to boys about me ever for any reason. I was just trying to ease your stress. Her grip tightened once more. I sort of appreciate the intention, but it does not make me less stressed. You should just kiss him and get it over with.
Kendra releases him in disgust.
And Seth suppressed a laugh. This is his entertainment right now.
He is the Warren stand-in. He's got to find.
That's what I'm saying.
He also doesn't have Warren to bounce off of. He's got to get the entertainment somewhere.
Yep.
Oh, man. He can't trade quips, so he's got a needle instead.
Yeah. Well, they continue on, and they come to... What is it?
A lake?
A lake.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, they come into a cavern. It's got a lake in the center. But in order to get around it, you have to traverse this, like, side ridge that's really close to the water, which, when you know there's a possibility of a hydra being in the water, isn't very comfortable. And so they decide to go through in pairs, so just in case something pops out of the water and tries to eat them, at least it won't get all of them. You know? Happy thoughts like that.
Great. We won't all get eaten.
Minimalize casualties. So they all get across, and the last two are Dugan and Mendigo. That's who's the last one. Okay.
Yeah.
And Trask is remaining next to the water. He's got
his crossbow ready.
Which is apparently a dual launcher, because he says a pair of adamant-tipped quarrels ready in his oversized crossbow.
His crossbows can be hard to reload quickly.
We know that from Ranger's Apprentice by John Flanagan. Highly recommend that series.
Specifically the Brother Band Chronicles, but yes.
Well, no, they talk about it in the Ranger's Apprentice because they're like,
how...
this is why the Rangers are superior, because we use the longbow.
That too. But Hal makes his own crossbow.
He does, to kind of minimalize the...
It takes forever to reload. Anyway, shout out to you if you've read the Ranger's Apprentice and the Brother Band Chronicles. Good series.
Indeed. All right, so then as soon as Dugan and Mendigo get across the ridge is when the Hydra finally appears. Which is very telling as to what its intentions are.
It wants them to go in.
Yes, Seth points it out later. Like, it only appeared after we were all past the point of no return. It's not meant to keep us from entering. It's meant to keep us from leaving.
Which honestly is on par with, like, all of these types of places in Fablehaven books. Like,
never go back.
Yeah, they always say, like, you can't go back. And... they want you to die in there.
Yeah.
Especially the dragons.
Yeah, it makes sense. And it also makes sense why there was still such uncertainty as to whether or not the first Guardian was a Hydra. Because like theoretically,
how many people could leave and live to tell the tale?
Yeah, like if you try to go in, if the Hydra were to pop out every time anybody entered the cave, then some person could just like stick their head in, take a glance, and like run out. But because it was only meant to be a failsafe to keep them trapped inside, it therefore preserves the secret much more
Yeah.
handedly.
Well, and it also is probably part of the Hydra's, like,
Job description.
no, like its nature, and that
Okay.
it wants them to be trapped so that eventually if they don't die to one of the other dragons, they'll try to come back and then it has its chance to eat them or something.
Which, by golly, it needs the nutrients.
Yeah. Its heads are, I don't know how many heads it has, a bajillion heads.
I think it says about 15.
They are not
Looking too hot.
looking too good.
So yeah, here's a description. The bulky green hydra, the dark green hydra, scooted its bulky body onto the shore. The massive creature had no fewer than 15 heads, swaying at the end of as many serpentine necks. 3 shorter necks ended in charred stumps. Love the little allusion there to Greek mythology. When Hercules battled the hydra, the only way to keep its head from replicating was to burn stumps after the heads were chopped off.
Do you think it was Patton?
100% that was
Because I
Patton.
do.
The draconic heads were roughly the size of coffins, varying somewhat from one from another in size and shape. That's huge.
Why did he decide to use coffins as the unit of measurement?
You know, I don't know.
Yeah, death on the brain, I suppose.
You know what? Actually, that reminds me. He's not the only one who does that.
Coffins?
Spoiler alert for House of Hades. It'll probably take no longer than 20 seconds. By Rick Riordan, the Heroes of Olympus series. Skip here now. Tartarus is described. His feet are the size of coffins.
Oh, well, that makes sense.
Like his
you
physical
know.
form. Yeah. Right. Moving on. Sorry, just
Okay.
it triggered my memory.
Yeah.
Okay, so Trask, Dugan, and Mendigo are all in the danger zone, so they're
Yeah.
trying to get out of there. Trask is covering. Gavin's
trying to talk to
He
it.
goes distract mode and
Yeah.
starts shrieking and oodle.
He's
lolling
trying
at
to
this.
talk to it, and it's not listening.
Well, it doesn't react initially.
Yeah, but like
It says
not really.
gradually.
It's all of its heads. Like it's not all listening, and
Yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah, so Dugan manages to get out of danger, and Mendigo as well. And so the heads, in English, funny enough, speaking in unison, saying, "We don't care who you are. All who enter this temple must die." And so they kind of exchange pleasantries, as pleasant as it can be when it's threatening murder. And Gavin goes into full taunting
Yeah,
mode.
it taunts it.
He casts taunt to speak to the D&D crew in the world. Cast
What?
taunt.
Okay.
I don't know.
Sorry, I don't play
I've,
D&Ds.
I've dabbled. That's not much. Yeah.
Okay.
He
He
does
says,
taunt.
"You call yourself a killer," Gavin taunted. "I name you a slave, a broken down old watchdog." And that makes them mad. It says, "We are Hespera. We guard sacred treasure." "You cower in a muddy pit reeking of slime," Gavin laughed. "Elsewhere in this same sanctuary, younger Hydra roams in a glorious swamp, hunting fat prey as it pleases." "Liar," the head snarled. "Oh, these silly dragons really pulled one over on you. Listen to yourself. So many sad voices singing the same sorry tune." And basically, he's trying to taunt it so that the head in charge, like, reacts. And so
Yeah,
it
he
works.
starts taunting individual heads, trying to
Yeah.
get them out of sync. And then once the head
Yeah.
reveals itself, he's like, "Mark,"
He's like, "Trask, shoot that one," and he does.
which, I mean, marksmanship for the win over
Yeah.
here. Trask nails it right in the eye and then shoots it in the mouth. Like, he full on basilisks it. Like,
Doing good.
Chambers of Secrets, Harry
Yeah.
Potter's it.
But not quite enough to kill it. So they run out, but they're all able to get out, and they're like running away from the Hydra.
Which was
And-
trying to, like, crawl after them for a bit, which is terrifying.
Yeah, that would be terrifying. And then Trask is like, wait. We don't want to rush from one danger
Yeah,
to another.
they're in the tunnel,
so-
charging headlong. Like, okay, let's pause, let's regroup.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
So that was Guardian number 1.
Guardian 2 is pretty darn cool, I gotta say.
Yeah.
And also, sick introduction. I mean, come on. So, they're
They were just like talking about the Hydra, and they're just kind of walking around.
so they managed to go into the next room,
Mm-hmm.
and initially, interesting, this is from Seth's point of view, fun fact.
Yeah.
Seth initially goes frozen, but Gavin places his hand in Kendra, so he has his faculties, his mental faculties are
Well, first of all,
working.
it's kind of creepy because all they hear is a voice, and it says, "Who do we have here?" Well, it's a deep voice. Who do we have here?
Who do we have here?
You can't go that low.
No, I can't. I'm trying.
Who do we have here? I don't know.
A slow, deep voice. So it's in the wall of the ravine. Yeah. So, cave mouth the cave mouth had looked like a patch of shadow until Seth saw a huge gray head emerge. So, initially, yeah, Seth is frozen, but Gavin helps him get his hand into Kendra's so they can still speak
Function.
and move.
Yeah.
And so I love this first exchange because it's just so baller. So the dragon asks who goes there, and Gavin answers, "Weary travelers." To which the dragon then immediately responds, "I will give you rest."
And then Gavin realizes who the dragon is.
And
he
he's
says,
like,
"Glomus,
"Get out!"
run, hold your breath." Because Glomus, his breath power is that his breath puts people to sleep. And Gavin recognized that. And so he's trying to get people out. But before they can all get out, they all breathe in. I think Kendra gets in the knapsack.
I think she's like halfway
or partway in, but not all the way. Seth is trying to hold his breath, and he holds on for a while, but doesn't quite make it, and they all fall asleep.
I'm sorry, but the response, "I will give you rest," is just...
Yeah.
That's a sick response.
Oh, it
I don't
is,
care
it
that
is.
that's like, because sadly that is like, we only get 2 lines from this dragon, and that was one of them.
Yeah.
Of all the ways to go out, he went out like a G.
Yeah. So the chapter ends with everyone falling asleep. And then chapter 25 is...
Kendra waking up.
Yes. And it's called Slayings, which I think is really, really funny. And I 100% believe Brandon was making a joke here.
Oh, 100%.
With this word slayings, which we
Hey,
have heard before.
You said slayings, good
as
sir.
in multiple.
Not confirmed.
So, just to call back to Patton and saying that he had slayings of dragons instead of just singular. So, I just think that's really funny.
I 100% agree. I bet. But it's also fun because, as the title may suggest, there are multiple dragons slayings in this chapter. Again, like I said, this is a very straightforward set of titles.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so
Kendra wakes up.
to see Tanu, who was trying to rouse her using smelling salts, getting her to wake up, and so Kendra's just
like, "Where are the others?" And Tanu says, "Still out cold. I dragged you well away from the fumes, but even so, it almost took 20 minutes to wake you." And they talk about the dragon having a potent sleeping, like, breath weapon. And then the next line is where it really gets interesting. "I became alerted when Tanu and Seth fell into a deep sleep at the same time in the middle of the day." Tanu fell asleep, but Tanu was shaking his head. "Vanessa." And then Kendra's like, "Oh,
the fact
I'm awake now."
She startles and reflexively scoots away.
Yeah. And Tanu, quote unquote, Tanu held up his hands innocently.
Which I'm just picturing this giant Simone going like, it's okay.
You're like,
okay.
I come in peace.
Basically.
Yeah. "Be glad I showed up. That dragon would have killed all of you. Where are we?" And then Kendra kind of dances around the answer. She's like,
nowhere?
A place, you know?
at a time with some friends.
But yeah.
So Vanessa explains she can sense anyone she's ever bitten when they fell asleep, which I think maybe implies that she could also sense Kendra because she bit Kendra, but she could never take control of her. Like, she probably sensed when she slept.
Yeah. But you can probably sense Seth and Tanu more.
Yeah,
so.
for sure. So she takes possession of Tanu, sees Dugan, who she knows because she was a Knight of the Dawn,
Yeah, that's true.
So she's like, okay, we are clearly in trouble.
Like, something is wrong. Everyone is on the ground looking asleep.
Probably not in very like it says like Dugan was laying sprawled next to her because I mean
Yeah,
you're not going to
she's
fall
like,
very gracefully when you're like knocked out.
Yeah, she's like, I knew something was truly wrong. Fine mist permeated the air, and I observed a dragon sniffing around. Imagine like waking up in someone else's body and just like trying to like take in what's going on. And you see a dragon right there.
And thank heavens she does have some ability as a dragon tamer where she's able to kind of keep her wits about her, because even without Glamis being like focusing on her with his dragon terror, like he's just being himself, like she still feels the terror, but she manages to at least keep like move a little bit.
She's able to move, which is the most important thing.
Because guess what's in her hand? Yeah, but so yeah, Tanu passed out and he was holding a sword, which was very conveniently tipped with adamant or edged with adamant.
Which she was surprised about because so basically she's like, oh, I have a sword. And so she takes her opportunity to chop at the dragon's head.
As it swings over her, just like casually being like, okay, I'm
it's
gonna
just
eat
kinda,
that one first.
It's literally just taking its time, which was its downfall.
Mm-hmm. Cocky.
Yeah.
Pride comes before the fall.
I mean, it didn't expect the things that were supposed to be sleeping to come awake.
Yeah, so. Honestly, Vanessa came in clutch on this one.
Literally saved everyone's life. Oh, she's surprised by how easily the sword cuts. And like you said, because it's tipped with adamant, but she didn't know that. So
she's like, well, I have a sharp stick. There's a dragon neck. I'm gonna go for it. And it worked out. So good for her. Good for Vanessa.
Yeah, she says, my attack caught the dragon completely off guard. When I rose to my feet and cut him with a return stroke, I left the beast nearly decapitated. The dragon reeled away, belching sweet fog and bleeding profusely. He retreated into a gloomy cave and died. I went in after him to verify his demise and finished parting his head from his body. Okay. Thanks for the description, Vanessa.
She double tapped. She was not risking. She was going to double tap.
I'm gonna kill this dragon completely.
And I mean, she wanted to remove any doubt.
Now she's a dragon slayer, so that's cool.
And I just love how she says, I suppose, like, because Kendra's like, you
killed
a dragon with awe, and Tanu laughs. She's like, huh, I suppose I did. And then she says, I may be the sole living dragon slayer. Not that I deserve to brag. It was handed to me on a silver platter.
So basically, Vanessa came in clutch, killed the dragon, and now she took Kendra away from the smoke to wake her up because she trusts Kendra the most and figures that Kendra probably trusts her kind of the most.
Yeah.
That's like, really the only way.
Kendra's the most sympathetic to her.
Also, if it came to it and Kendra tried to attack her, she could subdue Kendra. You know, she wasn't going to wake up like Trask or Dugan first, you know.
Yeah.
Or Mara, you know.
She probably doesn't even know Mara.
That's true, yeah. So basically, she's like, hey, I helped you out. Put in a good word for me with your grandparents, please. Because once they find out about this, they might not be happy. But then she's like, okay, I'm going to help you get some of the others awake, and then I'll release Tanu. And you can go about doing whatever you're doing. Well, she does kind of figure out that they're in the Dragon Temple.
Because they mentioned, there may be like some guardians we're trying to get by. And Vanessa's like, are you really that stupid? Okay, carry on. I did my due diligence as a good citizen.
Yeah, she's like, I guess this isn't really my problem, so I guess I'm just gonna...
Because, I mean, if they die... Nobody needs to know that she possessed Tanu. Just saying.
That's true. The secret dies with them. Anyway.
And then they can't even get pissed, even if she did save their lives.
So, yeah. She goes back and gets pretty much everyone else, puts them in the knapsack. Well, she brings Trask back, I think. And then puts everyone in the knapsack. And she says that she saw Warren as well.
In the knapsack,
and that it seemed that he had tried to climb up the ladder and get out of the knapsack, got hit by the sleeping gas.
Got whammied.
Fell down and hurt himself even more. And Kendra's like, well, he was already hurt before. But, yeah.
Warren's really not having a good time.
Oh, it is not his week.
No. First stabbed by a deer and then fell off a ladder. Yeah, Seth really needs to be in charge of this tombstone if he dies. Taken out by a vicious monster, survived only to be taken out by a dragon. Like, there are ways to spin this in either direction, into the cool, to the...
I mean, if anything, these are good stories to tell grandkids or
Oh,
whatever
for sure.
in the future. So basically, Vanessa really helps out a lot, and Kendra eventually gets Trask to wake up.
Can I add something really quick?
Yeah.
Talking about Warren, Vanessa then says he tried to emerge. Okay, they're putting it together. What happened? She's like, serves him right. Warren
Yeah.
was always so cocky.
Is she just talking about book 2, or did...
I mean,
No, they didn't know each other before, because...
No, because he was comaed. He was.
Well, also,
albino.
I feel like... Did he say that he had heard of her back in book 2, or no?
It's possible.
I can't remember exactly.
He was.
Okay, so
he
it
was,
was-
albino for 2
It
years.
was just book 2 and book 3. Anyway, I swear he said he'd heard of her, but I don't think they knew.
It's
They didn't know each
possible.
other.
They didn't know each other, but
didn't
I
know
mean
each
that
other.
fight, he was
But-
like over here
yeah, he was pretty
dying.
cocky and
Yeah, he's like, I could take you both on
three-headed
by myself.
fire-breathing dragon of...
A cat.
Yeah. Yeah, he is kind of cocky in book 2. I mean, it's in his blood, as we always say. Literally.
Which,
every
I mean,
episode.
if anybody would know, it would be Vanessa, Miss Studier of the patent journals.
True.
So she could
True,
probably
true,
be like,
true.
oh my gosh, the man's genes, there's something in the gene pool here.
Yep. So, no, but it's interesting because Trask wakes up and she doesn't... Does Kendra even say that is Vanessa?
Yeah, she
Or
does.
does he realize? Okay.
Like, it says,
Oh, Kendra explained. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Kendra explain what
And then
was
by
going
the
on.
time she was done, Trask is on his face. And he's like, Vanessa Santoro. He's like, I guess we have to say thank you, basically.
I suppose you're twisting my arm here. How dare you save my life? It means I now have
Yeah.
to thank you.
And then now that Trask is awake, she lets go of Tanu. And yeah. Then Kendra goes and wakes up everyone else.
Mhm. Yeah, once they get away from the smoke, they're on the opposite side of the cave from the Hydra. So thankfully Vanessa took him that way, so she didn't have to fall asleep and then wake back up again.
Yeah, that was smart.
But so yeah, Ooh, interesting. Sorry, I just read ahead a little bit. But yeah, so they get up, they get moving. Gavin fills us in about Glomus and who he was. He was an old dragon and blind. He was renowned for his rarity because, like, a sleep dragon is apparently one of a kind.
Very unique, like, gift.
Mhm. That breath of his will put anything to sleep,
God,
even
stupid
other dragons.
stutter.
Like, Loki,
Yeah.
he challenges for the kingship. I don't think Celebrant's walking out. I'm just saying.
I mean, that's a fair point, but too bad he's dead.
Yeah, he's. I mean, and I imagine for a dragon, it would have to be a direct shot, like straight to the sinuses.
Well, that's assuming that he could take down Celebrant before Celebrant took down him.
yeah, yeah. It depends on how much of a direct shot it would have to be with the sleep
Yeah.
mist. Because I imagine with humans, like just enough in the air around them is enough. Like you don't have to get like. I don't know.
It
Maybe
might
there's
take,
like a water,
it might take
a liquid
more.
form.
If Gavin had been in his dragon form, it might have taken more of the smoke to knock him out.
Yeah,
You know.
that's true.
So
Tanu,
yeah.
Tanu helped out even. So Tanu gets the double win.
Yeah.
Because as he's going down under the snow, under the sleep
The smoke.
mist, he breaks his own smoke grenade to kind
Mhm.
of fill the air with like they talked about him at the beginning as one of their tools. It was supposed to be like absolutely terrible for species with acute senses.
Yes.
So Gavin's like, oh, that explains why Glomus had to come so close to smell all of them. He had to get really close to Tanu, had to get really close to Dugan to see, oh, what do I find
Yeah.
here?
The smoke was masking.
Ooh, this one
them.
smells like Hawaiian food. I'm going to have that one last.
Okay.
But
And
yeah, so
yeah.
just all of the stars aligned for
I-
Vanessa to get the kill.
I love what Tanu says. He says, I know Vanessa gets the credit, Tanu said, repressing a grin. But it's pretty cool to think I took down a dragon. My body, at least.
He's humble about it. He still feels
Yeah.
good, but he's humble.
And then Trask is like, well, we're not out of the woods yet. We got another guardian ahead of us. You're singing Taylor Swift?
I knew that would make you happy.
Yay.
Are we in the clear? Are we in the clear?
Okay, good job.
All
Good
right.
job. Woohoo.
E.
Okay.
All
So
right.
Tanu goes down to check on Warren, and
He's
not
hurt.
doing super great.
Broken arm? I
Yeah, I think he broke 2 bones in his arm or something.
think? Yeah.
Yeah, not the best.
That's rough.
Still.
So yeah. But
And then
we press on.
Well, okay, wait, hold on.
Oh, is it the Seth part?
Seth.
Yes.
Seth wandered over to Kendra. So why do you think Vanessa picked Tanu instead of me? Would you have wanted her to pick you? Kendra asked. Well, I would have sort of been a dragon slayer.
Would have sort of been.
You know, I don't think Vanessa meant it as an insult. She controlled Tanu because she controlled Tanu before. Plus, Tanu was bigger. Seth looked mopey. She bit me too. Seth rolled her eyes. Cheer up. You may not have killed dragons, but you've gotten to see dragons, and who knows? You might still get eaten by one. I'm glad I've seen some hidden.
Kendra Silver Lighting Sorensen here. You can get eaten by one. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, you could. Don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to pretend I wasn't a little freaked out. I thought we were doomed. But if dragons weren't freaky, they'd be disappointing.
This child, I swear.
Kendra patted his shoulder. Don't worry. There should be plenty of freaky stuff ahead of us. We might still not even survive.
Kendra's humor has gotten dark. I love it.
It's so funny.
Yeah.
Seth is just like, why didn't Vanessa choose me to slay the dragon?
To quote unquote slay using my body at the very least.
Yeah. So
You know,
funny.
Seth would have still written.
Of course, Seth was thinking about that.
100%.
Of course he was.
But good thing he gets his chance.
Yeah.
So they're getting to the temple proper, and they're gonna send Gavin ahead to kind of scout out. So he goes ahead, and within like moments, he's sprinting back, and the way it describes him, sprinting towards Kendra. His skin had taken on a bluish cast, almost black around the neck and lips. He gazed at her with horridly bloodshot eyes. The horn, he murmured, collapsing.
And
He's-
Seth.
Quick thinking. This boy does so well under pressure. My goodness. And immediately Seth goes, he's poisoned, diving into the knapsack.
You know, this is before we all know that Gavin's a traitor. So
Yeah.
at this
We
point,
still
we're
want
like,
to
good
survive.
job,
Good
Seth.
job, Seth.
Good job, Seth.
So yeah,
He gets the horn. Well, he gets the horn and he chucks it up to Trask to make it go faster.
great idea.
Yeah, that was a really good idea.
They were on it for teamwork on this one. But yeah, like
Oh,
Gavin
actually,
at this
sorry.
point.
He throws it to
Yeah.
Tanu.
Yeah, but at this point, Gavin is, his body's going cold, his eyelids are turning black, and a buttery discharge is leaking from below his eyelids.
It is
like gooey tears.
Fast-acting poison.
He began to quiver and
Or-
twitch.
Yeah.
His veins were becoming increasingly visible, black lines beneath his blue, clammy skin. Yeah, this is potent stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, but they get the horn, they touch it to Gavin's throat, and immediately he starts to heal. And Gavin sits up and he's like, we're in trouble.
Yeah, he's like, we have to leave. We can't do this.
Because the third guardian is Soletta, which is a sick name.
The poison dragon.
The
Apparently,
fact that
she is.
Tanu groans
Yeah,
in
Tanu
recognition.
knows of this dragon.
Many
quite
thought,
renowned.
yeah, Tanu says, many thought she was just a legend, or if not, long dead. Dark potion masters fantasize about her, which isn't that just a terrifying thought? Dark potion masters. No, thank you.
Yeah.
She is utterly unique. They got a lot of unique creatures for this. First Glamis, now Soletta.
Yeah.
Hydra had a unique name.
So basically, like, everything about her is poisonous, and the air in the room that she's in
Just from
is
her inhabiting it.
filled with it. He didn't even like breathe in or touch anything really. He says just the atmosphere of being in the room poisoned him.
Yep. Her breath, her flesh, her blood, her tears, her excretions, everything is not just like, oh, it'll give you the flu for a few days. No, deadly poison.
And Gavin's like, we might not even be in the same room with her, but it might have like come into this. So everyone needs to touch the horn.
We're in the antechamber. We
Yeah.
might still be. We're in the fall. We might still be in the fallout zone.
Gavin's like, everyone touch the horn to be safe.
Mm-hmm. So that's a funny picture. Like 7 of them just huddling around. Like
They're like, touch.
it's like
Grabbing the portkey.
Yes, that's exactly what I was gonna say. The boot scene with the portkey in book 4, like just trying to get your finger to it. That's so funny.
Yep.
Okay,
Tanu's like, what do we do? Gavin laughed grimly. We give up. There's no way past Soletta. I couldn't conceive of a better guardian. Even if you held the horn to protect yourself from the poison in the air, she's still a dragon with teeth and claws and majestic aura of terror. She saw me. She's ready for us. Besides, who knows how long the unicorn horn would protect you? All magical items have limitations. Soletta is a living fountainhead and the most potent venoms ever known. We're pinned between a hydra and a poison dragon, Dugan muttered.
Thank you for summing that up. We appreciate it.
Yeah. So, yeah.
And then all right, and then Trask was like, okay, we need to figure this out. She could emerge at any moment. And Seth immediately, I'll take care of it.
So it's like, this is my time to slay a dragon.
And he's and Tanu is like, don't be ridiculous. Come on, we're the adults are talking. We need to be serious. And Seth's like, no,
Yeah.
like legit. I have a plan. Like, and it's not just me. I need Kendra. We got this. And everybody's like,
Okay, what?
you're thinking this through?
Yeah.
And so Seth's like, I got this. I remember because, and great callback.
Yeah.
He remembers when Graulus at the very beginning of this book, which love that foreshadowing. Graulus. He suspected that Graulus was trying to get Seth to steal the horn so that he could use it to heal himself. The demon could heal itself of all of its plagues and harms and all of that. And Graulus said that all of those injuries, those diseases had become so much a part of him that curing him using the horn would probably kill him. He's like, so?
Because it purifies.
Yeah,
not
it purifies.
Really
it doesn't like
heals.
heal. Mm-hmm.
It's not the same as a Sands of Sanctity.
So like Seth's like 1 + 1 = 2. Soletta plus horn equals dead. Yay! Or Soletta plus horn equals Seth Dragonslayer.
Yeah. And Gavin's like, maybe, but I doubt the horn contains enough energy to counteract the poison. And then Seth's like, we have Kendra. She's a battery. He literally says she's like a battery full of magical energy.
If she holds the horn, she'll keep it charged. And as soon as we get to and then he's like, and of course, I'll have to go with her because if she keeps the horn charged, I have to keep her moving by holding her hand.
The dragon terror doesn't freeze her. And then it says,
catch 22.
I love how the next line is the adults exchange glances, being like, are we really going to let them do this?
Are we really doing this? And I love how once he explains the plan and Gavin's like, it could work. Kendra's like, all right, yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Say what you want. She's ready.
Kendra has always proven herself to be brave and willing to do what's needed to be done.
Yep.
So
when the moment calls for it, she steps up.
And to his credit, Tanu is like, yeah, they're children, but they've done some astounding things. Tanu believes in them.
He comes clutch.
Our homie.
He's a bro. And then, of course, they are all self-sacrificial idiots saying, like, no, I can take the risk. I'll
do it. Not the children.
I will take the ring to Mordor.
I will take the ring to Mordor.
I'm hitting it with you today.
Oh my god.
First Taylor Swift, now
hey,
Lord of the Rings.
Taylor Swift, Lord of the Rings.
I'm killing it right now. But yeah, so Mara steps up. Dugan's like, I will not have children sticking their necks out for me. $5 if Warren's awake. He's stumbling
Warren
up the
would
ladder
have
like,
already grabbed
put
the
me
horn
in, coach.
And been like,
put me in.
Yeah.
And they're like, what if we send Mendigo? And Seth's like, okay, yeah, we can take the puppet, but I'm still gonna kill the dragon.
Yeah.
And because he makes a good point. Like, we have to keep the horn charged.
Yeah. No one else can do this
except for Kendra. And because Kendra has to do it, Seth has to do it. And of course, this next couple of lines, Kendra glares at Seth. You just want to kill a dragon, she accuses. Seth fought to stifle a guilty smile. He knows! Maybe a little. But mostly I want to get that key and go home. And you know what? I believe him. I believe this boy.
He's
He has grown so much.
He's like, I've seen cool dragons. I get to slay a dragon, then I go home.
Bucket
We're
list
done.
has been checked off. We're good.
Yeah.
All side quests have been achieved. We can now return to our original start point. Yeah, whatever.
Okay. So basically their idea is to take Mendigo, have him go in first, and try to distract Soletta, and also like light up the room with the flashlight.
Mhm.
And also, if they fail, Mendigo has orders to grab the horn and hold it to Soletta until she dies.
Mm-hmm. Which is kind of.
And then
gruesome.
Tanu has a good idea. For some reason, he has handcuffs.
Maybe he used them for Vanessa.
That's true.
I mean, if anybody turns out to be a traitor,
he's prepared.
He's prepared for anything.
And so he's like, okay, how about we handcuff you together holding the horn so that you're always touching the horn and each other. That was smart.
And the
honestly.
fact that so Tanu proposes this, and immediately Seth and Kendra in unison go, yes. I don't know about you, but being handcuffed to one of my siblings,
in a life or death situation.
that's fair. But I'm just like, okay, yeah.
Like, you and your siblings could not handle that.
Not
I
even
already know that.
Can't wait till
You
my
would
older sister
drive
listens to
each
this.
other crazy.
I could probably survive with Jordan, but like
Okay.
I'm just imagining it being like a 3-legged race
Okay, well, it depends on the length of time, I guess.
for sure, and
You
like
could-
the urgency.
You could do it for a little while.
We could suck it up.
But if you had to do it for longer than like a day,
Yeah, I like those challenges. Where
I
it's
don't
like
think
be
you guys could
handcuffed
do it.
to your
To be
significant
fair,
other.
I couldn't do it with my siblings either.
Mhm.
I don't think most people could.
Comment if you can.
If you can.
You have
For
our
you.
respect. Yeah. So Gavin's giving them some like last second like prep work. Like, okay,
Yeah.
stay in motion, use the pillars, don't let her leave at you. Remember, she is still a dragon, so like claws, teeth, whole shebang, be careful. And Seth's like, should I bring my sword? And Traska's like, if you get that close and you're not using the horn, you're dead already. So
Yeah.
don't even worry about it.
Exactly.
But he does get to bring his crossbow, and I think he lands a hit.
I think
Once
he does.
they get in
yeah.
there?
Seth is eager to go.
Oh
He
my
says,
gosh,
"Come on,"
yes.
Seth urged, tugging Kendra forward, and then the little bit of the the sibling fighting.
Mhm.
Settle down, Kendra complained. Be like, "Don't pull me," you know. Anyway, so Mendigo goes in, and then they go in.
This is so. I love how poetic this is because again, this is Seth's point of view. Kendra's hand felt damp to Seth. Was it his perspiration or hers? Wouldn't that be wonderful if the horn slipped from her grasp? He and his sister would die blue, handcuffed together. That'd be so poetic.
Yeah. So basically, they go in. Seth starts taunting the dragon, of course, kind of making her angry.
Warren and Patton. They are the same person,
And-
just at different stages of life.
The dragon starts talking back, and she's like, "Why are you not dead yet?" Basically, she's like, "What do you have?"
Why you no die?
She literally is like, "What magical artifact? What do you have that's keeping you alive?"
Like she's like, what spell are you casting?
Yeah,
And she's like, oh, you bring a little thorn to poke me.
yeah.
But yeah. And
Seth is like, "We're
this-
here on vacation. We're touring the world's weirdest dragons. The puppet is our guide. Do you charge for photos?"
This next one is wild. She's like, why aren't you choking? And he's like, we're not in the mood. We were wondering if you could give us directions to a dragon named Glamis. All we could find was a big, stupid gray dragon with its head chopped off.
Okay, Seth.
And I love that that's one of the things that actually makes her
Makes
kinda
her
like-
angry.
Yeah, she gets a little bit mad, and she actually coughs sludge all over them that I imagine
Yeah.
would melt them, and actually, sadly, does end up melting Mendigo.
Yeah, Mendigo gets melted into nothing except his hooks.
Yeah, which is really sad, and like we actually shed a few tears for him, which go Seth, respect the droids. Droids are people too. I'm sorry. I'm also in a Star Wars mood.
Yeah.
So but yeah, they managed to just barely nick her tail with the unicorn horn. She gets peeled off. By the way, she looks like a giant salamander with like 10 sets of legs, and she's really, really big. Fun fact. So they managed to get her though, and the way it describes her death is just extra Brandon very extra. Because, like, the way she's
Yeah.
described initially is that her skin is already, like, translucent. Just, like, which already, no thank you. But once they get in contact with her, you see the already visible organs start to, like, dissolve and, like, mix. And, like, her insides begin to boil. Her skin splits open. Yeah, it's
Ew.
not a... He really goes in detail for this one. I'm like, okay, Brandon.
Okay,
Are
gross.
you okay?
Well, kind of had to imagine how it would destroy the dragon, you know, because it like wouldn't
Heat
probably
purifies.
wouldn't kill a lot of dragons,
Yeah.
but it kills this one. So
Like, the Horde's
It's
like, man, this
unique.
is my one shot. I'm going to make it look good.
yeah, you
So, yeah.
got it. They did it. And going back to how Mendigo dissolved, they held the horn on the sludge till it went away, and then they gathered all of the hooks because, you know, they're really sad that Mendigo's gone. Try not to cry, honestly. So
I think Seth
Yeah.
does. Yeah.
I think Seth
gives a
does,
few
and
tears.
then Kendra doesn't. She's trying not to cry. Is what it says.
Yeah. Because, I mean, like, think about when we first met Mendigo. He was working for Muriel, the witch, in book 1.
Mm-hmm.
And he got turned into a giant puppet and chased Kendra down and eventually got thrown into the Naiad pool. One book later, he comes back and gets, initially tries to unearth Muriel and Bahamut, which would have been bad, but then is turned to work for Kendra and has been such a faithful servant this entire time.
Yep. Mendigo's been a real one.
He was a real one, so
So yeah.
rip Mendigo.
After they
Appreciate
get all
the effort.
after they get all the hooks, they go back and they're like, "We killed Soletta," and everyone's like cheering, like, "Woo, yeah,
Let's go!
And then Trask is like, "Okay, well, first of all, Tanu unhandcuffs them,
Mhm.
and then Trask is like, "Okay, let's continue the show on the road."
We're
we're
they're
gonna
not
go
shedding
with
any tears for the puppet.
3 people, and he takes He's like, "Okay, Kendra and Seth will come with me to retrieve the egg and the figurines." And then Gavin is like, "I have an idea. I'm going to go back and kill the Hydra. I'm going to take some arrows, stick
So
them into Glomus."
benevolent.
Yeah, how good of you. He's like, "I'm going to take some arrows, stick them into Glomus, and try to make it, you know, go to sleep, and then I'll kill it." And they're like, "You can't do it on your own." He's like, No. I got it. Don't
I got
even
this."
worry." And so they let him go off on his own.
Heckin' traitor.
So, yeah, we,
Well, actually,
we figure out later how he actually did it.
yeah. But yeah, so the fact that he says, "I'm inspired by Kendra and Seth. A small focused attack has its
I mean, I
advantages." Oh,
guess it
BS.
has to be true.
That's such BS.
It has to be
Alright.
true a little bit, or else you
Yeah.
would die.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so I also love the fact that, like, Trask is initially, okay, I'll take Kendra to go to the vault to get the egg and stuff, and then Seth's like, "I'm coming too."
Yeah,
I mean, he earned the clout. He just killed a dragon.
that's true.
We'll give
They're
him
now a
this one.
dragon. Seth can finally
How
say,
the
"I have slain a dragon."
Okay, so now we get to the next chapter. It's called Ambush. But before we talk about that, how the frick did Patton get in there? So they get they get to the treasure room. They find the egg. How in the heck?
I don't
Did Patton
know.
get
That's what
through?
we've been talking about. I don't know how he got in there. How did he get past Soletta?
I need that story. I don't care if it's just like a flashback in the Patton series. I need it. I need some details.
He did it somehow.
Like, you can get back to Lena, like, injured and stumbling and just like, "I just killed 3 dragons. I need a nap. We can talk about the drapes later."
Okay.
We need that story. Come on, Brandon. Give me that, please. How in the hay did he get in there?
It will be a mystery for now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Alright.
So yeah, they go and they make it into the treasure room, and it has, you know, treasure.
Which is relatively unguarded at this point because they've
Yeah.
managed to,
Well, I
like,
mean, there's 3 guardians that were thought to be,
2 of which were
undefeatable.
infamous
yeah.
for their amazing and rarity.
And Seth, at one point, they see the gauntlets, or what they think might be the gauntlets. And Seth's like, "What if we take this and use it as a bargaining chip, you know?" And then Trask is like, "You know,
I like the way you think.
I kind of like the way you think, but that is actually the worst idea you could have.
Possible.
Because the dragons will stop at nothing to kill you, even
After they get them back.
yeah, after you even think about touching those.
And besides that,
They're already going to try and kill us because we came in here.
Yeah. Besides that, like, Agad told us at the very beginning, or Agad, whatever, told us at the very beginning of the book, like, those are designed for wizards to use, not for the average Joe Schmo or Shadow Charm, or like those are designed for like wizards of immense power to use against dragons.
Yeah.
Not for someone like Seth. So the dragons would honestly 100% attack you before you'd have the chance to do anything with them.
To learn how to do it, yeah. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they find the figurines that Thronus wanted, and then they find the key, which looks like a pineapple with like protuberances, and apparently it's really heavy.
Yeah, it's like apparently 80 pounds or so.
Yeah, just like pure iron or whatever.
Yeah,
heavy.
I also love quick little moment here. Seth finds the figurines. It's a red dragon, a white giant, a jade chimera. And then he's like, well, is onyx? Because the next one is an onyx tower. He's like, is onyx black? And Taras is like, yeah, it can be. And then he says, and the blue fishy thing.
The blue fishy thing.
The blue fishy thing is the...
That's what it's called.
Agate Leviathan.
The Leviathan.
It's just the way he says the blue fishy thing.
He's like, the blue fishy thing.
Coming from Trask of all people. It's not even Seth.
Yeah,
it's Trask.
I know. I noticed that too. It's so funny.
The blue fishy thing. I had that highlighted. So yeah, they managed to get out.
They get back, and then when they get back with the key, both Tanu and Dugan are like, "That looks really heavy," and Drax is like, "Yup," or I'm getting weak.
We hope it's the former, because
so
we need you, buddy.
Dugan takes it down into the knapsack, and then they go out to find Gavin.
Who they go back to Glomus. Take a quick break for Tanu to do
Tanu's
his potion master
potion
thing.
Master stuff.
And Gavin comes back, and Kendra gives him a very passionate hug.
Yes, she's like, "You're alive. You're alive."
Although he is limping, interestingly enough.
Yeah.
He's bleeding a little bit, soaking wet, torn clothes, all that jazz. And he says some bullcrap story like, "Oh yeah, I pierced her eye with a spear."
It is technically true.
It's true, but it's also
at the beginning. That's what he says later. Anyway. So yeah, they make it out, and they're
all goes well. They go home and nothing bad happens ever again.
And they all lived happily ever after. And Gavin's not actually a freaking traitor. So they get out and they're like, okay, we got to make it to the rendezvous with the Griffin so we can get back to Thronus. Give him the figurines. Get these freaking things off our necks so we can lie again.
Gavin's excited for that part.
Exactly. But as they're making it to the rendezvous,
turns out there was a dead man switch.
The dragons descend and start attacking them.
Although, interestingly enough, the Astrids give them enough of a warning that they at least don't die. Like, Astrid flaps in and he's like, hey, yo,
he's
ambush,
like,
ambush.
It's a trap.
It's a trap. And I love how Mara, who's walking next to Kendra, goes like, is owl threat? Like, she holds her spear. She's like, do I need to kill the owl? I will kill owl. Do I need to kill owl?
I will kill this owl for you if you want me to.
Yes. All right.
So anyway, the dwarf is like, okay, we'll come back for you. We're going to evade the dragons.
Evasive maneuver, 17.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so Seth manages to get off with with the griffin because he was closest.
And it's good because he has the figurines.
He has the figurines, so they're going to take him back to Thronus.
And Tanu also gets picked up by a griffin as well.
But then dropped, which I
That's
think...
true.
Well, I like this bit because his griffin dives into... Because there's two dragons attacking.
Yeah, it dives for cover.
A red one and a green one. The red one has a fire breath weapon.
Mm-hmm.
So it chases Tanu's griffin into over a grove of trees.
Yeah.
And breathes fire into it. The griffin emerges without Tanu. I think the potions came in clutch. I think the potions saved Tanu's life because he managed to emerge from a flaming hellscape of fire so that
Yeah.
he can, but and I think really it is. I think it's the fire resistance.
Oh,
he
it
manages
definitely
to
is.
get out.
And then everyone else gets into the knapsack other than Trask. Trask holds the knapsack, gets to a griffin, and the griffin is, evasive maneuvers.
Yeah. And honestly, kudos to the griffins. They were coming in clutch.
Yeah,
At one
they did
point,
really good.
one griffin picked up both Gavin and Trask at one point and deposited him next to Kendra.
Yeah.
Like, they were putting in work. And like
They're working
Seth's,
hard.
we get like a full like chase scene where it's like doing all these evasive maneuvers, trying to get away from one of the dragons. It's a sick scene.
It's
and like
pretty crazy.
they were putting in some work. And so yeah, but then finally hang on. Yeah,
well,
then finally
what happens is that
Yeah.
they're with Trask, and then they feel the knapsack. Mara's up at the top, and she's watching.
like,
And
she's
she's kind of
just
like
peeking out.
narrating, and
We're
at
dead, we're dead,
one
we're dead.
point,
Oh, no, we're
they
not
get
dead.
dropped by Trask because Trask drinks a gaseous potion, so he doesn't fall to his death.
Yeah, because the griffin is forced to drop Trask.
Yeah. And so the knapsack falls to the ground, and then everyone climbs out.
Trask is just falling in slow motion.
Yeah, the gaseous Trask is falling.
This isn't flying, it's falling with
style.
And so they're like, well, we gotta leave him because he can't move very fast. He'll hopefully survive unless he gets a direct hit from
Yeah.
dragon fire.
And Trask is like waving at them to go.
Just good leader.
And they are
Good
really,
leader,
they're right next to Sidestep Cleft.
which we knew from last episode,
Yeah.
which was like the really thin ravine that crosses into Thrones' territory
And so they're running to it, but
because dragons can't fit.
yeah. But right when they get there, there's another dragon
This
guarding
one's
the
yellow.
entrance.
We have a red, green, and yellow. It's almost like it's Christmas. Gavin's like, well, gloves are coming off. Because not even Kendra is now frozen. She can't.
Yes.
Mara is now the only one
Mara
who can move.
was the only one that can move. That's true.
Everybody else is frozen. Dugan's paralyzed. Kendra's paralyzed because she doesn't have Seth.
Yeah.
Only Mara and Gavin can move. And Trask is who knows where. Tanu is
Yeah, everyone's a
MIA.
little scattered. Seth is off with
Thronus.
Thronus.
And so finally, Gavin's like, well, this is going to be messy, but gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah, shows his true colors.
It's morphin' time.
Okay, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
But I liked where you're going with the true colors because the true color in this case is black.
Yeah, he transforms into a black dragon.
Giant.
Eats up Dugan.
Yep.
Scratches Kendra,
And-
and pushes Mara off the cliff.
With a, which probably feels like a freaking, truck hitting you because
Yeah.
it's a paw. It's a dragon claw just swatting you off a cliff.
Mm-hmm. And so Kendra obviously is in shock,
And more than that, she still has the dragon terror. She still cannot move.
yeah.
She cannot look away as she watches Dugan get killed. She thinks Mara gets killed.
Yeah.
She's forced to watch. And it says, she screams without moving her lips because that's all she can do.
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
So Gavin starts attacking the other dragons.
There were some serious
And
air
leads-
quotes there.
Yeah,
Gavin.
that's why I was saying it that way. Exactly. And the dragons go away. Kendra grabs the knapsack, runs into Sidestep Cleft, in shock, being like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh.
They're dead, they're dead, they're dead.
Everyone's
they're
dead.
They're dead, they're dead.
Dugan is dead. Mara is dead. I don't know where anyone else is. Panicking.
Now I'm
Gavin's a traitor.
just picturing the scene from Treasure Planet. We go this way, we're dead. We go that way, we're dead. If we stay here, we're dead. We're dead, we're dead, we're dead. We're a little morph. Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
That was the first thing that I thought of when we were just talking about, okay, you're dead. I'm probably going to be dead. But yeah, so Kendra is now, she's showing her coolness under pressure. She's like, okay, what do I do now?
Yeah.
So she jumps into the knapsack. Warren's like, what the heck is going on?
Poor Warren doesn't know what is happening at this point.
Also, have you seen the picture of Gavin?
Yeah, I just was
It's
looking at it.
Sick. It's
like a
describes him. He has horns and spikes.
Giant dragon spraying out fire with the big mountain and woods in the backdrop, and he's perched on the edge of a cliff. Yeah.
It's a sick picture. Look it up.
It is sick.
Yeah, if you're gonna look it up though, look up the word Navarog.
Yeah.
Cause
That's who he is.
yeah, we get into that in a second. But
Yeah.
at first, Kendra's like, okay, so Warren, fun fact, Gavin's a dragon. He ate Dugan and Mara is dead. You caught up yet? Great. And Warren's like,
Warren is
what?
He's like, I can't handle any more of this.
He's like, are you trying to? Like, he's like, now his heart's trying to break his bones. Like, just
Yeah.
with how hard it's pounding, probably.
So it is not going well. And so Kendra, to her credit, is like, I'm going to try and make it bad for the dragons. And she grabs the rain stick
Does what
from
she
Lost
can.
Mesa and is like, I'm going to go try and make a storm as much as I can to shake it. And Warren's like, can you shake it down here, maybe? And she's like, I don't think that's going to work. And so she's like, okay, I'm going to go back up and shake the staff and try to create a storm. And
All right.
Warren's like, okay, I
Brace
guess,
for
please.
a storm. For all my epic fans who are
That
listening,
epic?
yes, it is. There's a song called Storm, and it was perfectly appropriate. Don't even get mad at me. Okay. So yeah, Kendra's calling the storm.
And then we go, that's the end of the chapter.
Yeah.
Chapter 27, Navarag. Starts with Seth and his Griffin's aerial maneuvers to get him to Thronus.
Ironically, now the only person who doesn't know that Gavin is a dragon and is the starting character of the chapter named after him.
That's a good point, honestly. So it's actually kind of crazy because the Griffin is doing everything it can to get away from the dragon.
Again,
and it's coming
sick
in,
chasing.
and they're getting close to the mansion. And Thronus helps out a little bit and shoots down the dragon.
With a giant crossbow that shoots arrows, quote, the size of a telephone pole.
Yep.
No, thank you. Like, honestly, Thronus comes in clutch. Like,
It does.
with the griffins and the dwarf, like, Seth thought he knew something about flying, but now Seth was learning that to convince a griffin to really fly, you had to chase it with the dragon. That's a direct
Flying
quote.
for its life. Yeah. So, and then Seth is like, I have your figurines. Please continue
don't
to help
drop
us.
me.
Yo, yeah. Yeah, that's what he says to the griffin. But no, I was only saying to Thronus, like almost exactly after he like gets there, he's like, I have your figurines.
Please don't kill me. Please save us.
Save us, basically. And so
I
he
love
gives
how
them
he-
all.
I love how he also gives the griffin a pat just because, like, this
Yeah.
griffin is, like, heaving and panting after its efforts. And
It
he's
works
just
so
like,
hard to keep him alive.
Good job, pat, pat.
Like, thank you.
Good job, buddy. You get extra,
Rations. I don't know. Food,
meat?
meat,
don't know.
whatever griffins eat.
You get extra griffin
Um,
food. Griffin kibble.
So yeah, he gives Thronus the figurines, and Thronus actually says, well, thank you for bringing all 5, but I actually only wanted 3 of them. But as part of a thank you for getting them, you can have the 2 that I don't want. You could have the blue fishy thing. And you can have the tower.
That was great. Thank you. That was perfect. Comedic gold. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I try.
You can have the blue fish. Now I can't see it. I can just see this giant.
Thank you, Trask.
Thank you, Trask.
Blue fishy thing.
The blue fishy thing. So we now have a blue fishy thing and a tall rock tower.
Because he's nowhere near the ocean. He's like, I'm not going to go to the ocean anytime. And then the tower will be human-sized.
Mm-hmm.
So it's of no use to him. So he's like, here, Seth, you can take these.
Have the blue fishy thing.
Have the blue fishy thing.
I take the,
And the tower.
I take the red lizard and the. Okay, I'll just say the actual names.
Yeah.
I'll take the red dragon, the snow giant, and a jade chimera. I'm not messing with Thronus anytime soon.
Yeah. He probably wants those to protect his territory.
Especially with the risk he took to get them.
Yeah.
Like, now that he's-
now the
and
dragons are pissed
Seth
at him.
brings it up, like, when Thronus notices that Kendra is summoning a storm because he's a sky giant.
Mm-hmm.
Seth's like, hey, you want to help her out? You're a sky giant, right? You can kind of contribute. And Thronus is like, well, the dragons do trust me to keep the winds more or less favorable to their flying. And Seth's like, yeah, you know what they also trust you not to do? Break into their temple and steal
Steal
from
their
them.
treasure. Yeah.
I guess it's a day for bending the rules, don't you say?
Thornus is like, I guess you're right.
You make a good point.
Your sister and I will cook up a good storm.
The biggest storm that that Wormroost has ever seen, or something to that effect.
Well,
and also the chains fell off. The chokers fall off.
And so Thornus goes away for a sec, and he comes back, and he says, so Thornus returned looking sober. While I was away from my globe, manning the ballista, Navarog joined the fight. I'm not sure when he arrived in the sanctuary. I'm afraid your friends are scattered, and it looks like some of them have perished. My griffins have fled. They've lost track of your comrades. 3 griffins have already fallen, and 2 of them are wounded. Navarog is currently contending with a pair of dragons, and there seems to be a powerful... Oh, yeah, that's when he mentions
That's when he brings up Kendra.
Yeah, Kendra and the thing.
And then
so
Seth's
now,
like, hey,
so
help
now
out.
Seth's like, oh, frick, Navarog. But he still doesn't know it's Gavin.
Mm-hmm. All right. Then just like to end the section, Seth's like, get it, buddy. And Thronus responds, when the storm has been called, I shall return with some victuals. If that means food, I'm in.
Yeah. He's like, I could do with some food.
Just based on what we have going on for the rest of this chapter, Seth gets it so easy.
That's what I was thinking too. I was like,
he just gets to chill,
get some food.
Get some food. He gets to with the griffin.
He doesn't know what has happened.
I mean, at least he knows that somebody's probably dead.
Something's probably, yeah. But he literally can't do anything to help them, so.
He's like, well, might as well eat.
Guess I should keep up my strength. So yeah, now we go back to Kendra.
Who is shaking this staff for her life, basically.
Yeah, trying her very hardest. And it's dark now.
While tears, does she say she's crying as well?
Probably, even if she's not. Like, I imagine that she is.
Distressed. And so...
And in the distance, she sees Gavin coming.
After,
in
at
human
this point,
form.
it's been probably
an hour
a good amount of time, yeah. And so, love this imagery. A dragon no longer. He bled freely from a wound on his neck and walked with a pronounced limp. Her flashlight beam reflected off the sword in his hand. As a heavy gust tore through the passage, he lifted his free hand to shield his face. You can stop that now.
Stop shaking the stick, Gavin called. I'd rather not, Kendra replied.
I was trying to be polite, Gavin said, coming closer. What I mean is, stop shaking the stick, or I'll kill you.
Yeah, tears stung Kendra's eyes.
There's the tears.
A disturbed laugh threatened to fly from her lips. Gavin had killed Dugan. He had killed Mara. Won't you kill me anyhow? As a dragon, I would.
And
Gavin
tried.
said.
He definitely tried.
True. In this form, I'd rather not.
Yeah, the only reason Kendra is still alive after he batted her with the claw and slashed her is because of the adamant breastplate.
Yeah, oh yeah, I forgot to mention that.
He didn't know.
Yeah,
Gavin did not know about that. That would have probably mortally wounded her.
Yeah.
Yeah, but so then he's like, as a dragon, I'd probably kill you. In this form, I can tolerate you.
And then she's like, who are you, Gavin? He grinned. Haven't you guessed? You're no dummy. Give it a shot.
She knew. She had tried not to admit it to herself, but she knew. Navarog. Honestly, this twist is so good.
It's insane. I remember
set up for 2 books.
Yes, it's crazy because they then talk about how he was the one that did all that stuff at Lost Mesa.
Yep.
And destroyed the preserve.
Yeah. So just to line up Gavin's timeline.
Yeah.
He was the original prisoner in the quiet box that the Sphinx traded Vanessa for in the end of book 2. So then proceeding, he is planted by, unfortunately, another traitor by the Knights of the Dawn. He eats Chuck Rose, the alleged father of Gavin.
Yeah.
Who was the Knight's foremost dragon tamer, and Chuck's friend, who was the traitor, Arlen Santos, plants Gavin and presents him as a prospective Knight of the Dawn, thus allowing the Sphinx to implant him on the trip to Lost Mesa, and then allowing him to go to Lost Mesa and be basically a plant. So basically what ends up happening is when they go into the tomb, well, not the tomb, into the vault, when he goes in to talk to Charlize the dragon, to talk, using air quotes, he basically just turns into a dragon and goes, hey, I'm bigger than you. Shut up and sit down.
He shows his true form. He's like, if you attack anyone, I will kill you, basically.
And so that's how they get all the way through. And that night, he goes back and releases her and says, wait for 2 weeks, and then you can overthrow this place. If you don't, I will come back and kill you.
And then he frames
what's his
Javier.
name? Javier, yep.
The guy in the wheelchair to be a traitor. And he's like, all I had to do was slash a few tires, move a truck, and
eat a guy.
And that's all it took for you guys to be convinced that it was poor Javier and not anyone else. And he's like telling her with such relish. And evil.
So bad. Oh, man. This is a good twist, honestly.
It really is. Like, I remember when I first read it, I was like, oh my gosh. I was so mad and just shocked. And I was like,
but it makes so much sense in
man,
hindsight.
Brandon and his twist, like, betrayal strikes again.
Uh-huh. Like, yeah, first we had Vanessa.
The Sphinx. And now
we have Gavin.
And they were all part of the same plan, really.
Mm-hmm. Just layers upon layers. So, yeah. And then it gets even deeper. Basically, the Sphinx knew that after Kendra escaped that she left behind a steamboat because he coyly passes her a magical artifact that he wants recharged, and it doesn't work. And of course, his first thought is, oh, duplicate, because he knows that they're duplicates because he used one.
Yeah.
So he fed her deliberately false information about Navarog being assigned to the team that was going to be hunting down the artifact key. And
in order to galvanize them into going after the key, really.
Knowing that they would then send Gavin, the foremost dragon expert, to the dragon sanctuary.
Exactly.
And I just love how Kendra is just like brain.
She's like, oh. She literally says, we're so stupid.
We brought Navarog with us to Wormroost. We opened the gate and let him in.
And then the next crazy part is that when they bumped into Nafia, Gavin was so scared because Nafia knows him in his human form.
She knew him as Navarog.
So she recognized him, but she didn't blow his cover. So she's actually guarding the entrance outside.
At this moment, yeah. Like, it even says, like, she didn't come here to offer help. She came here to tease me. It was to mess with me. He was like, I was worried she was going to reveal me, but instead she just helped me by saying that Navarog was outside the gates, by saying that there was a rumor. Like, the layers upon layers of this deception.
And Gavin is just eating this up. He said, you keep doing a lot of our work for us, Gavin agreed. This whole scenario has played out almost perfectly. I would have preferred to keep my identity a secret until we had left Wormroost. I would have preferred to devour Trask and all of them right outside the gates, then fly away with you and Seth and the key. But this will serve. And then Kendra's like, why do you want to spare me and Seth? And
she's like, didn't you try to kill me like 20 minutes ago?
Yeah.
Like, I was in a rush. And also brings up again, minds as dragons are different from minds in their human avatars.
Yeah.
And so, but he was like, in this form, I think I am quite interested in Kendra. Yeah. I am very interested to see where our relationship goes in the future. Now we can see why he was like, do we really need to talk about this right now, Seth?
Yeah.
When I can't lie to you.
Yeah. And he's just like, you and your brother are very
competent.
Impressive and
surprisingly capable.
Surprisingly capable for human children. So he's like, I would take you with me, And you're like, oh, thanks. Wow, you wouldn't kill me? Great.
Especially when it says, you've accomplished some astounding feats. When the moment to reveal myself arrived, I may have changed my mind, but I felt sorely tempted. It wasn't like even that he decided. He said, sorely tempted to spare the two of you. Naturally, I would have eaten all the others. Naturally. So instead, you just ate Dugan. Just him for now, Gavin grinned. The grin looked wrong on his face, too knowing, too shark-like. The boy she had once liked would never have grinned that way. Bro's an actor. Dude. Give this man a contract. He's an actor. And so he gives her a little update.
He does say, he gives a little update that Seth got Dethronus.
Because the choker fell off. He knows that much.
Yes. That was interesting. The choker grew with him as he was a dragon.
Which annoyed him. Yeah, he was like, can I just take care of this freaking leash? Like, he's got to be annoyed.
And he's
He's like,
Trask was blown by the storm. Mara may have survived. I couldn't locate her body.
morbid, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, your storm may have killed Trask. Who knows?
Ugh.
Really laying on the guilt trip here.
He's toying with her 100%.
Oh man. And I also like this was set up as well at the very beginning of this when Agid is talking about dragons' avatars. He's saying that the transformation is so complete, even other dragons cannot tell.
Yeah.
So like when Camerat at the front gate used, if only he'd used the truth serum on Gavin.
Yeah.
One shot and everything would have been cooked, but instead he hit Trask with it, and I think Mara instead. And so, yeah, we were cooked, but Camerat couldn't tell, Agid couldn't tell, only Nafia, who had previously seen the Avatar, could tell.
Yeah. Navarog is really just eating this up, just gloating.
He's
to
monologuing.
Kendra.
He is monologuing.
He is monologuing. You caught me monologuing.
It really wasn't that hard. So yeah.
Just keeps going.
Until
nasty little. Ugh.
Yeah, until the knapsack is brought up.
Oh.
Because there's one more person besides Kendra and Seth that he knows where they are and he can take care of them.
Also, the key is in the knapsack.
Yeah, the key's also in the knapsack.
So that's the main reason why he wants the knapsack. Yeah. He says, hand over the knapsack. And so she gives it to him. And she does try to take a swing at him, but,
kudos to her.
Doesn't
it's
work.
Also with the stick.
And he's like, don't embarrass yourself, And he opens the knapsack and he says, after you. And then Kendra goes to the knapsack and says, Warren, Gavin is Navarog. And that's all she got out before Gavin, rips her away from it. And then he jumps down into the knapsack and, knocks Warren unconscious. Luckily doesn't kill him.
It's worse than Jason and Mark of Athena.
Oh my gosh. Getting hit by a brick. Anyway.
And then a hoof.
Yeah. So, and it's awful because Gavin's like, this has been a tough week for Warren. Should I just put him out of his misery? Just taunting Kendra.
Probably literally holding the sword over his head.
It's just awful. And she's like, no, please leave him alive. And he's like, why should I listen to you? You tried to attack me. And she's like, no, I promise. If you don't hurt him, I'll do what you say. And so she goes back up. Well, he says,
get out of here.
It doesn't really matter if you behave, but sure, I'll spare you having to watch me kill your friend. Go on up the ladder. And so he grabs the unicorn horn and the key and follows her up the ladder.
And then pulls out lighter fluid.
Yeah, he starts dousing the knapsack in lighter fluid. And Kendra's like, what are you doing? And then he takes out a lighter and lights it on fire, burning the knapsack.
And holding Kendra back so she can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
As she watches the one friend she still knows where they are and who's still with her, her only access is gone. He's like, Warren is now trapped in that 3-dimensional space with no way out, limited provisions, and severely wounded.
It's a death sentence.
It's a death sentence.
He's gonna starve to death.
That is messed up.
It's incredibly messed up. Makes her watch.
He's like, I won't make you watch as I stab your friend. I'll just make you watch as I condemn him to a fate.
Also,
worse than
so
that.
evil. He's like, I bet Warren will get really good at Yahtzee, huh?
And the fact that Kendra yells,
You're a monster.
And he goes, you're finally catching on. I'm much worse than most monsters, Kendra. I'm a dragon and a demon prince. Which makes me wonder, did, not Growlithe, Gorogrog?
Gorgrog?
Did Gorgrog, adopt him?
I think it's something like that. that he's like so evil that he's an honorary demon or
That's
something
what they've
like
said.
that.
It's
Yeah.
just like, was there an adoption? Like, was
So-
there paper signed?
Yeah.
So Kendra starts trying to talk her way out of it. She starts
Trying to
channeling
taunt
her.
him.
She's trying to channel her
Yeah,
inner
she's
Seth.
like, "Are you like working like for the Sphinx, a human?" And he's like, "No, that's not how it is." And
That's not gonna work on me.
And then-
of course, he's still he doesn't like working for the Sphinx, but he's like, our goals align for now.
yeah, and then in her mind, she hears the Astrids. It says, "We're coming, Kendra."
And at this point, her taunting / stalling game improves a bit because before this, she had nothing to go on. She's like,
Yeah.
I'm just trying to delay the inevitable. But now she's like, maybe there's a chance. And so she tries to keep him talking. And Gavin's like, yeah, we're not talking about that right now. Turns around, and as the Astrids fly in, cuts them down mercilessly.
Yeah, kills 3 of the Astrids. And then Kendra's like, "Stop, he'll kill you."
The fact that she like covers her eyes and screams is like, just stop, because she just can't handle anybody else dying at this point.
Yeah. And Gavin's
hurts.
like, "Astrids?" Gavin asked, looking up and down the passage. No other owls flapped into view. Even as a human, I could kill Astrids all day. Nowhere easier than in a narrow passage like this. Send them on, let's be rid of them. Who's coming to help you next? Chipmunks? Snails? He's just taunting her again.
Funny you should ask who's coming to help next. Gavin?
Yeah. Then a dragon with silvery... Okay, I'm starting over. Then a dragon with silvery white scales materialized behind him. The dragon was not particularly large, hardly twice as tall as Gavin, but even with its wings folded, the streamlined creature barely fit into the passageway. Raxtus stared at Kendra, then glanced from her to Gavin uncertainly.
He is best boy!
And then Gavin is like, turns around and is like, "What are you looking at over my shoulder?"
Because,
Like,
I mean, Kendra is probably, like, looking...
gaping and like, oh, because she didn't realize Raxus was there. She can't hear him in her mind, so
The irony here is, like, Gavin's like, oh, you're trying
you're
to stall
overacting, you know.
Like, come on, if you really want me to fall for it and you want to take another cheap shot at me, you gotta make it a bit more
You gotta
subtle.
be better at that. And then she kind of like keeps him talking and is like trying to like get Raxtus to do it, egg him on.
But the funny thing is, as well, he's like, I don't blame you for wanting to take a swing at me, but try to make it show a bit more ingenuity. I have excellent senses. If someone tried to creep up behind me, I would know. It gives the same vibes as he's way too literal. Metaphors go right over his head. Nothing goes over
Over
the
my
head.
head.
I would catch it.
I'm gonna die surrounded by the biggest idiots in the galaxy. Guardians of the Galaxy reference.
It was very applicable here. I have excellent senses. Nothing could creep past me. I would know. And Rax is like, clearly not.
Yeah. And so Kendra's like kind of like looking at Raxus but trying to like keep the conversation going.
She's like,
And also trying to egg Raxus on and be like, do it, do something, attack him.
Rex is like inching forward, like opening his mouth a little bit, like, and she's like,
and then
oh my gosh, why did I have to make friends with the most cowardly dragon? No, I'm kidding. I'm just saying that's probably what Kendra is thinking. I don't think that. Raxus, you're the greatest. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
Kendra loves Raxus.
She does, but she's also just like, how do I get this dragon to eat this man?
Yeah, basically. And what she does do is she brings up his dad, Celebrant. He's like,
Daddy
what about
issues.
Celebrant? True.
Save the day.
Gavin chuckled. We'll be long gone before any of them know what really happened. But Celebrant's supposed to be the toughest dragon alive, Kendra said. Aren't you worried he'll want revenge? Gavin shook his head. Celebrant is the one who should be worried. After I open the demon prison, I'll be able to descend on him with an army of such power the world has never seen.
Which right there is like, he knows he's not a match for Celebrant. He's like, I'm going to go get some backup and then we'll be back.
Yeah. Trust me, there'll be a new king of dragons before long. Kendra, you're staring way too obviously again.
I can see it now. She's now like giving a pointed look like,
hey, he dissed your dad.
Come on.
Come on.
Just like the wide eye, like head, like jerk, like, come on, get him.
And to his credit, Raxus bared his fangs, his brilliant eyes brimming with rage. His neck coiled slightly, and then his head darted forward, teeth flashing, and with one swift bite, a large portion of Gavin went missing. The sword clattered to the ground, the dragon's forelegs propped Gavin up, and with 3 more bites, he was gone. Kendra cocked at Raxtus in stupefied wonder. You know, the dragon said, still chewing, for such a bad guy, he tastes pretty good. Yeah, Raxtus!
For the win! We love Rex.
We have a soundboard.
We do have a
I
soundboard.
forgot about it until just now.
It was perfectly appropriate.
Yes, I was like, this is a good time to use it.
Oh my gosh.
Woohoo!
So Raxtus takes out the demon prince,
Not just
Navarog.
takes out, he ate him. He ate Navarog.
And I love how Kendra is just so happy. She's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to hug you now.
Yeah, and she does.
She's just like, I don't care if you think it makes you look girly. I'm hugging you.
Yeah.
And we get a little bit of backstory. Basically, the Astrids alerted alerted Raxus to what was going on, saying basically, hey, she's right here, bad dragon. But he was too scared to go in initially because he saw Nafia standing guard outside.
Yeah.
So that's when the Astrids flew in. But then when they were killed, Raxus is like, just like,
He's like, I need to suck it up.
hold my beer.
I need to go in. I like how he says, sorry, I hesitated. I've never slain a dragon before. Like, of course you never slain a dragon before. You are a dragon.
We now have like 5 slayers in this book. We have Vanessa, Tanu, Kendra, Seth,
Kendra.
and I guess
and
Gavin. And then Raxtus now. We have so
There's
many-
a lot of living dragon slayers, Vanessa.
Sorry, Vanessa, you're no longer special.
Yeah.
Well, I guess now there's 5 because Gavin's dead.
And what a good point is that
and
because
Thronus. Sorry, continue.
what a good point is that because Raxtus is so small, he can fit really far into sidestep cleft. And so that really helped him. He's probably the one that can fit in the furthest.
The
That's
only one, yeah.
So
Gavin, you ate Navarog. Not very gentlemanly to ambush him while he was trapped in human form by a narrow cave. But then again, he was no gentleman. Yeah, we're not shedding no tears. This is not a war crime. This was a favor to the world.
yeah, this was good. And I like this little part where she hugs him and he starts to grow brighter. And it's because like her magical energy. But I think it's so interesting because Raxtus is connected to the fairies.
Mm-hmm.
When she touches Raxtus, it like
Does the
energizes
same.
him.
And he's like, okay, we're feeling
He's
good.
like, oh,
yeah.
I feel good. I got my first kill on a probably first kill of a dragon or something that's not an animal.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, he's
now
like,
I'm
okay.
energized.
All right. I can get used to this. Worth keeping you around. So yeah, they're like, okay, now we should probably go.
Well, before that, she uses the rain stick to probe the remains of the knapsack. And Raxus is like, oh, your friend is in there, isn't he? She's like, yeah.
She doesn't even say anything. She just nods, not
Yeah.
trusting her voice to hold. Can't blame her. It's Warren. Like we were so depressed. Like Warren, we can't lose Warren.
There.
And it also
And honestly,
works story-wise.
it works for his character because he takes too many risks, and he had to have it coming and not just be able to get
Okay,
healed
Vanessa.
by the
Sands of Sanctity.
Sands of Sanctity.
Yeah.
Like his actions had to have consequences sometime.
So yeah, we're good now. Gavin / Navarog is dead. We have the key. We have the rain stick. Warren is at least alive,
Yeah.
if not well, or able to be accessed.
It's really bad situation.
But yeah. So, but yeah, Astrids, of which there are now 9, sadly. Rest in peace, you brave, brave birds.
yeah.
Once they finally get to a safe place, they fly out invisibly past Nafia.
Nafia.
They fly out invisible past Nafia. She can't see them, especially with the storm, so they manage to get away clean. And once they get to a safe cave, the Astrids lets Kendra know, hey, everybody's alive. Well, besides...
Yeah,
Deacon.
one of the Astrids went to Thronus, and they got a fairy to translate for them. And they've been communicating, and they're like, okay, everyone has a griffin with, like, they're all in a safe
Let's do
place.
a head count.
And a griffin's going to come for you tomorrow and take you to meet up with your friends, and you're going to leave, basically.
We do not pass go, do not stop to collect $200. We're getting you out. Because if they sent
So-
3 dragons after you, there's a good chance they'll send. Actually, no, I think there was 4 by the end of
There's
the
a
battle.
lot, yeah.
'cause
So they're like, the dragons are pissed. We
you
got to
need
get you
to
out
go.
of here. You can't go back to Blackwell Keep or anything. You just got to
Yeah.
go. And so Raxtus is like, I'll stay the night here with you. And like the Astards also stay with her. And, you know, Kendra's just kind of laying down with Raxtus, like wraps his
Wing
warm
around
wing
her.
around her, keep her warm. And then she's just
I'm
like,
just picturing Saphira
wow.
and Aragon.
oh, yeah.
Same thing. Yeah.
Kendra's just like, wow,
That sucked.
this was quite the day. It was the worst day of my life, probably one of them.
right up there with losing Lena, I imagine, or being kidnapped.
Yeah. Pretty sucky day, to put it lightly.
Yeah. Good thing though she doesn't sleep for 3 days this time.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just
So
watched
she
that
does
short.
sleep, and the last chapter, the new
28,
Knights.
The new Knights.
So yeah, she did get picked up by the Griffin and took her, and they met everyone up at the gate. They got out, and then were able to hike back to the place where their pilot Aaron could pick them up, and they're making their way back to Fablehaven. They're in the car driving back. They got picked up at the airport by Elise for extra protection, and now they're going back to Fablehaven.
And of course, Kendra's trust is shattered.
Shattered.
Like, they're
that's what she's
driving
thinking
into
about.
Fablehaven, and she's just like contemplating, can I trust anybody at this point?
Yeah.
She's like, I sent him flirty letters. She trusted him, and like at this point, she's been betrayed by the Sphinx. She's been betrayed by Vanessa. She's been betrayed by Gavin now. Like, she
Like,
looks
who
o-
can I trust?
She looks over at Seth, and she's like, well, at least I can always trust Seth. But what if he's a sting bulb? What if he's been
Yeah.
replaced by when Thronus had him? And she's like,
Literally.
she has so many issues at this point.
For good reason. She's been
100%.
burned too many times.
Oh yeah, and Rex, her
It's-
boss, also kidnapped her.
That's true. Also, Maddox
just
was a
adding
sting
to-
bulb earlier in this book. Like, it's just one after another after another.
Who can you trust? It's rough. But yeah, it's a heavy
It
a
is
heavy
awful.
atmosphere when they're getting back to Fablehaven. She even says like she did not want to see Fablehaven again. She was sick of magical creatures hunting her. She was sick of fear, sick of betrayals. If one of her best friends had secretly been a demonic dragon, who could she trust?
And then she's thinking, Kendra was beginning to understand why Patton had wanted to hide the artifacts beyond the reach of anyone, why he only trusted himself with their location. In a world full of traitors, how did one confide in anyone?
Yeah, because he didn't even tell Lena.
Mm-hmm.
All Lena knew was the code to the safe. That's all she knew.
Yeah. But then she does think, well, Patton did trust her.
Kendra.
Yeah. Had that been wise, they had recovered the key to the vault where the translocator had been hidden, but no matter how they tried to hide the chronometer and the key, it wasn't just a matter of time before the society stole them. Like, she's feeling like whatever they do, it's not going to help at all, which sucks. And so they pull up, and they're greeted by Grandma, Grandpa, Dale, and Coulter.
And once again, thank goodness for Seth.
Comedic relief that we all need a little bit.
Desperately at this point, because
We're all down in the dumps.
Seth is pulling out his acting game now. He's like, all right,
Yeah.
we need to lighten the mood a bit. So Seth gets out of the SUV, waving the unicorn horn in the air, being like, hey, I brought it back. Because at this point, of course, they know that Seth snuck away.
Yeah.
Trask had called Grandma and Grandpa and just been like, hey, so here's the situation. You saved our lives. Don't go too hard on the kid. And so Seth jumps out of the SUV being like, I saved the day, waving around the unicorn horn, tosses it in the air, catches it, tosses it in the air, doesn't catch it. It falls to the ground and shatters.
Everyone froze. Seth looked stricken. Coulter paled. Grandpa scowled. Tiny white shards littered the walkway.
Kendra found herself choking on laughter. The look on Grandma's face was priceless.
But it was unfair to prolong the prank. Kendra got out of the SUV.
I got the real horn. She needed that so badly.
Seth was cracking up. The others looked relieved. There was a glass horn head in the airport souvenir shop, Seth giggled. The horn was just the right size. We bought the horn and broke it off. So worth it.
I really want to know who bankrolled that
And
one.
then Grandma.
I'm going to bet Tanu. I'm going to bet Tanu
He's
bankrolled
like,
that
yeah, they need this.
one. Warren would have done it.
Oh, Warren would have thought of it first.
Imagine Warren finding out about this happening in hindsight. Like, I missed it!
Yeah. He's like, what, couldn't you film it for me?
Honestly, I bet Kendra wished she had filmed.
And then Grandma, for a young man on thin ice, Grandma said, you sure enjoy stomping around. Seth kept laughing. He couldn't seem to
doesn't
help
even
himself.
care. Literally,
then-
when we were trying to start this episode, I was just cracking up for absolutely no reason. At least Seth
Yeah.
has a good reason.
Grandpa smiled. He came forward and hugged Seth. After all you've been through, I'm glad you can still laugh. Ouch. Yeah.
He is Seth. He
Well-
sees himself as Seth.
Yeah. So Grandpa's like, we have to talk. Leave your
kills
bags
the mood.
to everyone else. The three of us need to talk. So, yeah.
After the lightheartedness, Kendra is already fighting back tears just because, like,
Yeah.
at the very least she's safe, but at what cost? And so they go into the office.
Well, she hugs everyone. And then
Yeah,
they
she
go to
hugs
the
everyone. They
office.
go to the office, and they're just like, "Hey, we're so sorry. This is we."
You know, Gavin's betrayal was awful. You know, and Kendra's just like, she can't even speak.
Yeah, she's like, "We understand you'll need time to recover. Unfortunately, you don't get that time."
Yeah.
They don't say that, but it's
Yeah.
kind of
They're like, we're
implied.
trying to figure out a way to find Warren. You know, they're like, and Seth is like, can he breathe in there? Like, they're, you know, kind of panicking. He's like, there are air vents that are connected to the world, but we don't think there's a way to access the room through those.
It would have been
He's
well
like,
protected.
we're trying to figure out a way to get back Warren and Bubda. He does say Bubda too.
But I'm gonna be honest. This one is kind of nice to think about because if you think about it, what artifact does the key that they just recovered
yeah.
unlock? The vault holding the translocator, which
Yeah.
they've done research on, is the artifact
Teleportation.
with power over location. Yep.
Yeah.
So there is some hope.
They're like, if he can hold out, you know, maybe we can figure out a way.
Yeah.
And then you heard what Vanessa did, Kendra asked. Tanu filled me in on the phone. She was under strict orders not to inhabit any of you, but under the circumstances, it is hard to view her anything less than a hero.
Yeah, she pulled a Seth move. Like, yeah, I'm gonna do what you told me not to do, but I'm also gonna save your butts by doing it. So you can't get mad at me, haha.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and Grandpa brings up a good point. Even though Vanessa helped them with Glomus, how do we know that she wasn't actually trying to help Navarog? Because at that point, he was with them.
Kendra mutters, how can we ever trust anyone?
And I love Grandpa's point afterwards. He says, we have to always be on guard, but we can't stop trusting each other or our enemies win. We are still in the middle of a crisis. None of us can handle it alone.
We must always be on guard, I suppose, but we can't stop trusting each other or our enemies win. We are still in the midst of a crisis, but none of us can handle it alone. And Seth, am I busted?
Breaking
Seth
up the
asked.
serious moment, of course.
Fair
Please, Seth.
question, Grandpa replied, shifting his attention. What do you think?
I'm probably busted, but I shouldn't be.
You should have sent me along in the first place. I'm as good as any of those other knights, better than some, and my new abilities made me really useful. Grandpa.
I imagine I want this moment to be, if this is ever produced as as a film or a TV show, I just want Grandpa to stare at him for a solid 20 seconds, just level like a Gaius eyebrow at him, just looking at him until Seth starts squirming.
Yeah, he's just like saying all these things. He's like, no,
and just until he just gradually fades off into silence, and then Grandpa just goes, "Would you like to be a knight?"
Yeah. Seth's like,
That would
is
be
that a trick question? Grandpa's like, no. And Seth's like, of course. Yes, please, please.
And Grandpa's like, you make a good point. You've accomplished a lot. You are very useful in combat or any situation, really. I don't think your judgment has fully matured. And it probably won't for another 2 decades. But these desperate times require courage like yours, Seth. Rise. And surprise, Grandpa's been promoted.
He is now the captain of the Knights of the Dawn.
And as the
He's
captain,
come out of retirement.
he can
Make Seth a new knight.
Make Seth the new
Knight
knight.
him, yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of funny. How do you get a knighthood usually in all those medieval fairy tales? You
Slay
kill a dragon.
Yeah.
Seth is literally living like a fairy tale from like medieval England right now, and it's great.
Yeah. And to his credit, Grandpa does recognize Seth's accomplishments. He's like, you took risks, the stakes were high, but you had good reason. You were right in that the fate of the world hangs in the balance. Perhaps it is better to be active than passive. In some ways, the knights as a whole have grown too conservative. To avoid the coming crisis, I'm afraid we may have to take some risks and go on the offensive. So yeah.
Love that.
They're talking about, the artifacts and how they need to protect the key and how they need to now move into getting the translocator from Obsidian Waste.
And also give back the unicorn horn.
And give back the unicorn horn, yeah.
Oh yeah, we recovered this from the society. Let us now return it to you in your as a token of our favor or a token of our good graces.
Yeah. And they also talk about how
It's a good thing they're not wearing the chokers anymore.
Yeah.
Sorry, continue.
Well, they did say they did get it back from Navarog for a sec, so it's not quite a lie. But anyway.
Okay, I'll take it.
It's not a full lie. Anyway. But they're
Whatever
also
you need to say, just let yourself sleep at night.
Yeah. And then they bring up that they still don't know where the fifth secret preserve is.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a problem.
That's for next book.
Yeah. That's for next episode.
Oh yeah. 2 episodes probably. Or
Well,
3.
I was like,
Oh, okay, gotcha.
how people were like, oh, we'll figure that out in the next episode.
Yeah,
Anyway.
that's true. So yeah.
And then Kendra's like, well, in the meanwhile, what happens to us? And, well,
Grandpa gets a little
well,
shifty.
well, yeah, Grandpa's like, well, Kendra, first of all,
You're legally dead.
everyone thinks you're dead. And Seth's like, am I going to go home alone? And, and Grandpa's like, no.
Not quite.
It's too dangerous. You both are going to stay here.
Because the way he says it is really like the society has crossed another unthinkable boundary. And this has really been the book for that. First,
Yes.
kidnapping Kendra, Gavin turning out to be a traitor. Well, I mean, they've been doing the spy traitor thing for a while, but still,
Yeah.
this is extra. He's like, another boundary has been crossed, and Kendra's like, what did they do?
And she kind of suspects.
Just like
what
the way
it
she
is.
suspected, once she started getting the hints that Gavin was Navarog.
Yeah. And then Grandpa hesitated, reluctant. This is the last paragraph of the book.
The last
First of
lines.
all.
Yes.
Grandpa hesitated, reluctant eyes flickering from Kendra to Seth and back again. The society has abducted your parents. That's how the book ends.
Yep.
When you read it, were all the books out?
Yeah. I didn't
Gosh
have to
dang
wait.
it, Jessica.
I'm sorry.
I read it. I read this book almost right after it came out, and I got to that part, and it's like, are you freaking kidding me? I have to wait another year
yeah, I was
to know what happens?
I was privileged on this one.
They took their parents? Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, sorry, that's probably really loud, but that's how I felt.
And it was valid.
10-year-old me was like,
valid.
what the heck?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It sucks.
Insane thing to end on. Quite the cliffhanger.
Mm-hmm.
Crazy. So, yeah, that is the end of book 4, Secrets of the Dragon Sanctuary. Good job.
Not keys.
Yeah, the next book is book 5, Keys to the Demon
Demon,
Prison.
Which is why I was always getting them mixed up, just to
Yeah,
be
yeah,
clear.
yeah.
But yeah. This is a heck of a book.
It's insane. It is such a good book.
Mm-hmm.
Book 4 is awesome. It raised the stakes exponentially.
100%.
Like what you were saying with everything that the society was doing and just like
leaving
all of these
Fablehaven.
twists, leaving Fablehaven, the betrayal of Gavin, the society taking their parents. It's insane.
Just the gauntlet that they were running with the Dragon Temple, with just dragon after dragon after dragon after 3 dragons.
Yeah, it's
Just,
insane.
It's a really fun gauntlet of just trying to survive nonstop on the adrenaline. It's really fun. And honestly, it feels longer than it is. That last, that was only 5 chapters from, the beginning of the climax until the end, which
Yeah.
honestly shocks me.
Yeah. Okay, So before we get into our general talk about the book, there was a part that we wanted to go back to and look at now that we have knowledge of Gavin's betrayal.
AKA now that we can talk freely.
Yeah, exactly. Now that we can talk freely. And not give spoilers. We want to go back to when Nafia comes as a human Nissa to their camp, and she, looking at it through the lens of knowing that Gavin is Navarog,
It's so funny.
it's so funny because she's taunting him the whole time and just like teasing him.
It's like
It's crazy.
it's like it's like werewolves versus vampires and Kendra is Charlie.
We're still on the Twilight, aren't we?
I thought you'd appreciate it.
No, you're good. You're good. That's good.
Like they're playing 3D chess while everybody else is just playing checkers. No, like they're like Gavin's over here sweating and she's just like, ooh, I wonder what this button will do. Ooh, what will this button do? What will this button do? Oh, that
Yet
one made a
she
fun sound.
Doesn't give him away.
No,
Which is interesting.
it is. And later on, I mean, Gavin did say towards the end that she is I think she said, quote, fairly dark dragon
Yeah.
herself.
Yeah, that's why she teams up with him.
Which, I mean, I get the vibe.
Yeah, she's definitely evil. Okay.
She
So
no
it starts
friendly.
with Nissa, walking up, and then Gavin says, let me handle this.
Again, probably sweating up a storm.
And Nissa's like, oh, let me offer you my help. And then Gavin's like, why would you want to help us? And then Nissa's like, oh, I miss humans. Taking their form is such a novelty, you know?
Interestingly enough, like she's like, until you guys all showed up, because hang on, where was I going with that? Just like, it's not just the fact that she's seeing humans, she's seeing a dragon avatar.
Yeah.
So double layer
and
there.
Gavin kind of like allude, like there's so much like, what's the word? Undertext. What's like the word? Subtext. I was like, what is the name?
Well, now you have the name.
There's so much. I was just like, my brain wouldn't, like, it thought of a word, but that was similar. Anyway, subtext. There's so much subtext to this chapter, to this part.
It's really
'Cause Gavin's like, there's no way you just want human company. And he could mean, like, I know that you recognize me. You didn't come just to see me as a human, you know? I don't know.
Also, she's taller than him, which I find funny. Just like she gets closer to Gavin and she's just looking down at him like, I know that you know that I know. So I'm going to have some fun.
Well, and something that's kind of interesting is that, like, when she leaves and Trask is like, you know, I had the shot. I could have taken it and take her out. And Gavin's like, well, that might have worked. It's just interesting that, like, she and Gavin are both technically in their, like, weaker form at this moment, you know, both knowing that the other is a dragon and could, if they wanted, if they had to, you know, take the other out by transforming or something. But it's just like,
Hulk out.
I'm always angry. But yeah.
Gavin, I could believe.
He's always lying.
That too.
Oh, the part where she's like, what an adorable stutter. I'm just like, oh my gosh. She's just like laying it on, being like, yeah, I see not only that you're pretending to be a human, but that you're using stuff like a stutter to like hide your and make you less intimidating. Oh my
and
gosh.
then when Gavin is trying to let her down easy on like rejecting the offer, he's like, we mean no offense. Gavin said, a hint of pleading in his tone. So there's a little extra layers there. We just need to be careful and a dragon in your party is one dragon too many, Nissa said, eyes sparkling.
Dude, that
I
part,
understand.
when I was rereading it for the podcast episode a couple like episodes ago, and it was like that exact quote, I was like, oh my gosh, I've never, like, I remembered that like she's kind of, you know, taunting him a little, but the whole part of like one dragon in your party is one dragon too many, eyes sparkling, it's so obvious looking back on it.
It really is.
Just how overt it was. It's crazy.
And then, like, I'm trying to see if there's, like, a marked difference in Gavin's acting after she brings up Navarog being sighted outside the gates when she's giving him extra protection, extra shielding.
Yeah.
And I'm not seeing anything right now. It's just Gavin being, oh no, this is horrible news.
He's just talking about it more than he usually would. Because I feel like anytime they bring up Navarog, he almost, not like changes the subject, but he doesn't really partake as much. But it's not suspicious because no one could possibly think that he was Navarog. So it's not suspicious at all.
Yeah, which honestly makes me kind of like, dude, like, in all the things, you are way, like, self-confident, arrogant. Like, dude, your acting was pretty on top of it. Like, this is a good twist in that you could not really see this coming until it happened. But then afterward, in hindsight, it was obvious.
Yeah, it was obvious and not obvious. Like, you could see how it works and how, like, when he, like, explains about it with, like, the whole plan with the Sphinx and stuff.
Yeah.
Starting from the very beginning.
But I'm just like, he's like, I can't believe you guys didn't see it earlier. I thought I was being so obvious. I'm just like, you really weren't. Like, maybe a smarter person than I could have seen through it more quickly, but I don't know. It just seemed weird, like, at the end when he's taunting Kendra, being like, I thought you were intelligent, yada, yada, yada. I'm like, I thought I was intelligent, and I didn't see it coming.
He's just jaded and expects betrayal from every side, and Kendra just had one little bit shred of hope that the betrayals were done, and then when it happens, well,
yeah,
that just crushes her
and
completely.
It's also him just being an absolute jerk.
Yeah, he's completely rubbing. That's his time to gloat. So he's like, you guys are so stupid. You let Navarog into your own group. I thought it was obvious that this Gavin Rose kid wasn't real, you know. Which, I mean, their story is a little, like, far-fetched, but you don't really know who's out there in the world of the Knights of the Dawn, and, you know.
Yeah.
So.
Interesting. The stutter is a little bit inconsistent after Navarog is brought up. Like, he stutters, I think, 3 times in this conversation. I see one at the very beginning when she first offers help, and then on the next page for me,
yeah, he doesn't
when
do
he's
it
trying
too
to
much.
gradually, like, let her down easy, and then a couple pages later, the very end of the conversation.
Maybe he's feeling more confident that she's not gonna break his cover or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Like, maybe the shock of, like, her bringing up Navarog did maybe shock him a little bit, and he had to get it back under control and get back into the acting.
Yeah.
For a second, maybe.
There's another line that it's just she's messing with him when she says, oh, Navarog's been spotted, and Gavin says, this is horrible news, Gavin admitted. He wasn't seen inside the sanctuary? Nissa gave a sly smile. Not to my knowledge. The Demon Prince is here for you. Why not let me devour you instead? Less hassle, less drama. I'll be gentle. It's just like the sly smile. It's just the way that Brandon writes, like, her reactions and, like, her mannerisms, basically, in this conversation are very telling.
And also, the next bit, right after Gavin's last stutter, Nissa is saying goodbye. She's like, oh, you've just been told your death is certain, and yet you are still willing to continue on. Maybe you actually do deserve to be a dragon brother. I feel like that has some nuance there, but then Gavin says, I would like to think so, lowering his eyes. I wonder if he kind of took that as, like, a diss, as, like, maybe you actually do deserve to be a demon prince with all of this, with this farce, with this deception you're putting on. And he just has to lower. Maybe it's just the acting, like he's trying to seem deferent, humble, or show deference. There's the
deference. That's what you're looking for.
Yeah, show deference. But I wonder if a little bit is just like, oh, I would kill her so quickly if I could right now.
He has to, like, hide his reactions probably.
And of course she's enjoying it, because then immediately afterwards
she's eating it up.
She embraces Kendra, like, It has been such a delight meeting you. Extends her hand for him to kiss.
She's like, I know you probably think yourself better than me, but kiss my hand.
Yeah.
Kiss my hand.
You know you have to.
Oh
you
my
can't get out of this.
That's so true.
So yeah, that's what kind of is coloring the previous exchange right there for me. Is just her being like, I can do anything right now because you can't bite back.
Exactly.
She's like, you can't show your hand, so you just have to roll over and let me walk over you.
Also, the fact that she's like kind of helping him a little bit by saying, "Oh, Navarog has been spotted."
Yeah.
You know, he's in her debt a little bit, well, a lot actually, for not revealing him.
Yeah,
You
for
know?
sure. Which is, I think, why she feels safe to do this, and also like it talks about it later. Even when Navarog is fighting the other dragons during the final confrontation, she comes in to help at the end of the confrontation.
Yeah.
To be fair, it's at the end. Like, let's be honest, if he'd lost, she would have been hightailing it out of there.
Yeah.
She would not have shown a single blue scale.
Yeah.
But I imagine once he starts showing that he's gonna win, she's like, "Oh, now I can go and show my support." And
Yeah.
hope
Make sure
he
that
does
he
not
sees.
remember the whole kiss the hand thing.
Yeah.
But
Or that
yeah.
he doesn't. Maybe also to help him instead of him seeking his, revenge, petty revenge. I don't know.
Because let's be honest, he
On
would
her.
totally be the person to seek such petty revenge
He
like
would.
that.
He definitely would.
I can totally see it.
So yeah. Anything else in this conversation? I think that's pretty much it for me.
No. I'm really like
It's
now
just-
focusing on like the little hand kiss of her just being like, you
Just
know
like
you have to.
The eye contact of like, we both know this is a power struggle, like a show of like power and like gloating.
Yeah, for
really.
sure. It's her gloating. She's like, I'm going to help you out, but I'm going to have fun while I do
I'm gonna
it.
enjoy this a little bit.
And you know she is. So.
Oh, she's enjoying it so much,
Mhm.
which is why it's so interesting to look back on it now that we know that he's Navarog.
You know what I wonder? Like,
What?
Gavin as an avatar is like 16 to 18 years old.
Yeah, he's like a teenager, older
Yeah.
teenager.
Nafia or
Is like
Nisa's
a full-grown woman.
is a woman, yes.
So you're like wondering why Gavin looks younger.
Yeah, I'm wondering if dragons the avatar of a dragon reflects their age. Like for Raxtus, for example, his avatar. We don't. Doesn't he say?
I think he says it's like a fairy boy.
It does say he's a fairy boy. But his voice sounds like a teen. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, okay.
His voice sounds like a teen. It doesn't really, even though he's well into adulthood, where the aging process would have slowed, his voice is still that of a teen. And Gavin, presumably, we don't know what his dragon voice sounds like, but his avatar reflects an age of late teenager, whereas Nisa, it says her age was hard to gauge, but Kendra, at first glance, would have estimated mid-20s.
So are you saying that you think that Nissa, as like a dragon, is older?
I'm wondering if there is a connection. Because, I mean, it seems... I don't know. I'm wondering if
It's possible.
Nafia has a thing for Navarog partially. We also know that Nafia has had several clutches of eggs.
Yeah.
She's known for
yeah,
eating them,
because
so
Shalice
she's-
was her egg.
Yes. So... I don't know. Just like the
possible.
little questions like that I'm wondering. Like, is there like a connection to a dragon's the maturity of a dragon's voice / avatar to
Could it be like maybe the
their
first time that
ancient dragon years?
the first time that they take their human form
That's interesting.
is like
Like
relative
it locks it
to
because
because I feel like
Raxus
they
did it
probably
early.
can't really maybe they can I don't know if they really change what they look like. Maybe they have some influence about
what they
how
look like
old
when they appear.
they appear.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's an interesting question.
Because it's been how long has it been since Kendra met Gavin?
Like
A year?
less than a year.
Yeah, about
6 months.
So it wasn't suspicious enough that he wasn't aging.
No, not at all. Spoiler warning through book 5, because this is still the conversation.
Of Dragon Watch.
Of Dragon Watch, yeah, thank you. Book 5 of Dragon Watch, Return of the Dragon Slayer. So skip to, look down in the description for timestamps for this whole discussion to be over. The dragon that, Dromedaus. The dragon that they visit in book 1, and then later when Agad is killed, and he becomes a wizard.
Yeah.
He's like old, isn't he, when he becomes like human form?
I cannot remember.
Because I was just thinking like,
we'd have to look.
He's a very old dragon because he used to be the king of the dragons.
Yeah, and
he's very old, and I don't know. I mean, maybe I don't know if it like has to do with how old the dragons are, because he probably took human form before that.
Yeah, he's the only one who still remembered the art of changing from a dragon into a wizard.
Yeah, but I'm saying like he probably like presumably had taken human form before becoming a wizard in Dragon Watch, but I don't know if it has any correlation. But I was just thinking about it just because he's another one that we see in human form, but then he becomes like he chooses to become a wizard though.
Yeah,
he's
that's like
super
the only
old.
other? No, we do see Celebrant in human form.
You're
briefly.
right. We do see a couple of them in book 2 of Dragon
2.
Watch. Yeah, and the
I think we're just
Castle.
going to have to table this discussion. I think
Yeah.
until we get to Dragon Watch.
Yeah, and yeah,
Then we can
it'll be more
revisit.
relevant in Dragon Watch because we see there's Dragon Watch.
There's a lot more dragons.
But it is interesting to think about like how their human form
reflects
or relates to or correlates to their like dragon form.
Yeah, that's honestly a question I would love to ask Brandon Mole is like how much control do dragons have over their avatar appearance when they, or even just like their voice.
I'll add it to the list. So here's another question.
I don't know.
Does the same go for unicorns?
Ooh.
Because they also, horses, and then they have a human avatar.
Years old.
And he's also a teenager, but he's got to be older than 4,000 years old.
Yeah.
So we learn in book 5 about Ronadin and how like they helped fight,
the Demon King.
the demons like a long time ago.
And it was Ronadin's,
and all these things.
It was Ronadin's mistake.
So they're very old.
They're very old.
Bracken and all the unicorns are very old.
But at the same time, they are not eternal. Because they were born. So they can die.
Yeah. They're just
immortal. So either unicorns live for a heck of a long time.
But do they choose how they look?
I don't
That's
know.
the question.
I don't know. I'm curious to
see. I almost wonder if they don't, because
is Bracken was like as an immortal, is he
when
just
Bracken
cursed to be
goes
an
from
teenager?
immortal to mortal, like
what does Ronadin look like?
I'm just picturing the guy from the
I know, that's really old though. And he's supposed to be like the same age as Bracken.
So he's like, let's say he's like 20.
But Bracken's like 16.
I know. I kind of hate that they're all so freaking young still. It's so annoying.
I don't know. Sorry,
honestly,
continue.
by the end, Kendra should have been 18. I'm just going to say that.
I concur with that.
She should have been 18.
Give him 2 years ruling Wormwood.
This is going back to our discussion of the
ages.
The ages and the discussion we had about him publishing in middle grade.
Yeah.
Really holds back his characters, in my opinion, as they grow older.
Yeah.
That's my opinion.
I would also argue that right now Rick Riordan has the same problem in that Annabeth and Percy
are
very stagnant in the senior year adventures.
I will freaking say, I started reading Percy Jackson like a few years after they started coming out. I started reading them when I was 8. I am now 25.
And they're
still 18, 17 years old. It's ridiculous. Let your characters age. Anyway. Oh yeah, we were talking about like age and like if they have like why do they appear the age that they are, Yeah. It's interesting.
Has Bracken looked 16 for
how long
millennia?
Have you been 17? A long time. Back to the Twilight references.
Oh, it was even more relevant.
It was very relevant. Yeah, like, do magical creatures have a lot of...
Like, is it like dog years? Like, they age gradually according to their species. Like, can dragons die of old age?
I don't know.
I mean, it mentions
I assume it gets to a point where,
like, they thought that Soletta had died, and
Yeah,
Glomus.
I assume at some point maybe they just lose the will to live, and so maybe they die of hunger or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. Okay, now,
'Cause,
okay,
yeah, we know
we've amended the
demons can
question
die.
to, do magical creatures with a human avatar have control over how they appear as a human?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, like, is it, like, once you set it, is it, like, a permanent setting? Or can
yeah.
you adjust it over time? Yeah. So, like, because, like, maybe, like, a really ancient dragon can choose their initial form as a teenager, but then, like, 2,000 more years down the road, he's like, man, I really regret that decision, but he can't change it.
You don't want to be eternally a teenager.
I mean, it sounded great 2,000 years ago, but now...
I mean, it's like that one character in Eternals who hates looking like a kid forever.
Oh, Druid?
What's her face?
It's not Druid, because that's the Brazilian mind control. I
I don't know why I'm thinking of such random
could
stuff
see
today.
her face.
The chick who's like, I can never have a love because I eternally look like a teenager. I'm like, okay.
Can I be too fair?
I mean, that's kind of fair, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, she's a shapeshifter or illusionist.
Yeah, anyway.
It'll come to me randomly one
One
day.
One day when you're teaching about Paiutes.
Yes, probably. Loki. Really want to know her. Now I need to look it up. No, I'm not going to look it up. I'm going to be strong. I'm going to remember by myself. I'm a big girl.
Okay.
All right.
Anyway,
Fascinating conversation.
it is interesting. I've never thought of that.
Like, because part of me wondered if, like, yeah, the whole thing that started this conversation was I wonder if
Nissa?
Nafia, the dragon, is into
Nafia, yeah.
Navarog, yeah.
Okay. So, okay. End of spoilers for Dragon Watch.
It's a long one.
It was long. It's fine.
It'll be
I
amusing.
had
It'll
to
be
reach
amusing.
really far into Dragon Watch for that. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, we had to, like, first we
You had
went
to
to
go to the
book
very
2,
end.
then we got to book
Well,
3,
no, I went to,
now we're
well,
only
we
to
went to book 3,
5.
then back to book 2, now we're
Okay.
book 5. Yeah. Anyway. Okay, let's go back to the book of the discussion of
The
this
topic
episode.
at hand,
Yeah, sorry, guys.
the titular topic.
If this has been long and annoying that we're not talking about what we're supposed to be talking about, I apologize.
I really hope most of you guys are already, like, have read most, if not all, of Brandon Mole's books, because otherwise this is so confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Anyway.
Oh, wait, I just, like, looked back at my page, confused at what I was at, and it just says, the lovely stranger had aristocratic features,
Oh, yeah.
chiseled cheekbones, flawless skin, and imperious eyes. And I was like, what on earth? Oh, yeah. Then I remembered.
Nissa. Okay, so
I really actually wonder why Mendigo just escorts her into camp. Like, does she work some magic on him?
he doesn't sense her as a threat, maybe?
Like, he's escorting, like...
I
Yeah.
honestly don't know. I've kind of thought of that, but never really thought about why.
Like, it just feels really chill. Like, it even says...
It is. They're like holding
Mendigo,
hands.
yeah, Mendigo walked beside her holding her hand.
So maybe she's
Huh.
using some kind of magic or something. By
That's what I
touching him.
honestly wonder.
That's what I feel like is happening.
That's what it feels like, which is interesting because that means a singular dragon's magic, when trapped in a human avatar, was enough to supersede the...
But yeah, you would think that
Because it...
she wouldn't have power over him because he's not like a human. He's just like a...
But
An
I mean,
object that
he
can
is
take-
magic. He is...
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
So she might have just, like, delayed the order to defend.
I almost think it's that, like, she's not presenting as a threat. And so...
He's just like, hey, I just found this
It's
lady
a
in the woods. What am
human.
I
I
doing?
don't Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's get to the questions.
I just realized in her flat sandals, she stood more than 6 feet tall. So my height?
Yeah.
All right, sorry. Yeah, good to the discussion.
Okay. So now we're going to go to... At the back of the book, there's always those reading questions, and we like to go through some of them and discuss. So the first one, it's a bit of a doozy.
Thank you.
Question number 1. Kendra has faced multiple betrayals over the course of the series. That's an understatement. Which do you think was the worst and why? Have you ever felt betrayed by a friend? How did you handle the situation?
Okay.
I'm probably not going to say anything personal because honestly, I don't really have anything. I don't know.
I personally don't really. Well,
Have you betrayed me, Jessica?
I mean, I don't know where
Your
you
team
thought
Iron
you got
Man,
the.
so I mean. I got you there.
Okay, yes, you did. Yeah, that's fair. Look, that was one
It's a
of.
betrayal of the worst kind.
We had many discussions over that in 2018, 2019, when that
I was
when
watching a new
Infinity
Captain
War-
America, and I was like, I'm thinking about it still. How could anyone be Team Iron Man? I'm Team Iron Man in general, just not in the Civil War. Anyway, it was a joke. We can move on.
We can move on. Now I honestly kind of want to go on that tangent, but maybe we should.
We've
put it,
already gone on
make a
tangents
poll.
for an hour and 15 minutes.
And it's been so fun. All right. Okay, I'm just trying to think. Okay, what are the betrayals we're thinking
Okay.
of? We're thinking of the Sphinx
Vanessa the Sphinx,
and
Gavin.
Gavin are the three main ones.
Yeah,
Rex.
but he was a sting bull.
He was a steamboat, but the initial betrayal was
That's-
still there. It's still the fact of somebody wearing her friend's face kidnapped her.
I almost think it doesn't count though, because it's not actually him. So it's not him betraying. It's a ruse.
Okay, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
All right, any others?
I think we focus
Any
on the
others
main
about-
ones.
Okay, those are the three main ones.
Yeah, there's not. I don't think there's any other. I mean, does what's his face that is doing stuff in book 2 with Vanessa, the magician guy that tries to lure them into the van, basically.
It's same last name, Fisk, but his actual name is Christopher.
Christopher Vogel, that's his name.
I don't know why Christopher came. He masquerades as something Fisk, doesn't he?
Something like that. Anyway, you guys know
Errol.
who we're
Errol Fisk.
Errol Fisk. Okay, I was like, you guys know who
I
we're
just-
talking about.
I just had an owl pop into my head.
Yeah.
Bloody menace.
Errol. Dumb bird.
Dumb bird's a bloody menace.
The bird carrying my release papers. God, like
Some
whatever.
ruddy owl named Errol.
Errol.
I love the one I
Ron's
looked
like-
at okay, my bad.
Don't look at me.
Keep your head down.
Yeah, anyway, another Harry Potter reference. We always talk about Harry Potter.
But yeah, so
The
that
worst?
that one. I think we can, if we're gonna rank all four, if we're including Errol Fisk
Okay.
/ Christopher Vogel
He's
last.
the lowest. He doesn't matter.
He
So
was
honestly,
a setup.
the big three,
Yeah.
Vanessa, the Sphinx, and Gavin.
I'm gonna say Gavin is the worst.
I honestly think so too.
I
Because
think,
she had feelings for him.
yeah, they deliberately manipulated her
Like,
feelings
so
and
hard.
vulnerabilities as a teenage girl, whereas
Yeah.
I mean, this,
Okay, also, I think we have to, we're saying the worst betrayal for Kendra.
yes,
Not for, the knights in general or anything.
because in that case, it's the Sphinx.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It would be the Sphinx in general. But personally, for Kendra, it's Gavin.
And I think because mostly it was personal.
Yeah.
He
It was very personal.
He was pretty much designed to get her attention and to gain her trust. Not even just the knights in general, her trust. Because
Honestly.
the Sphinx knew that she was one of the most key players on the board.
Yeah.
He knew that she, as being fairy kind, it's the same reason he removed her from...
That's why I kidnapped her.
Yeah, it's why he kidnapped her. It's the same reason he removed her from Fablehaven while he's initiating the Shadow Plague at Fablehaven.
Yeah. Yeah.
During the second book,
Exactly.
third book.
Third book, yeah.
All of those reasons are why he designs Gavin as Kendra's perfect eye candy,
Yeah,
so that
basically.
she will. Because even then, if you think about it, he immediately puts them together in an attempt to form a bond between them. And imagine if Fablehaven falls, she's immediately only survivors are most likely her and Warren. They're the only
And
ones
Warren
left.
wasn't supposed to come, really.
Warren wasn't even supposed to come.
He was like, I will not leave Kendra.
he basically
He forced his way on.
yeah, which
That's
good.
true. It was really set up so that
She would
only really
have
trust
Gavin.
Gavin and kind of have Dugan, but Dugan's like a lieutenant. He's too busy, so she'd really just be with Gavin.
Yeah,
So do you think at that point it would have been set up that she would have been kidnapped then?
I think
in book 3.
Well,
after
at that
Las
point,
Mesa?
Sphinx's cover isn't
Oh
blown.
yeah, but like not like kidnapped overtly, but kind of like
I think
put in a place that the Sphinx like controls where she goes, basically.
I think he's definitely controlling everything at that point. He maybe lets her like help out on a few missions that are specifically designed to help the society. Like she is constantly surrounded by plants, by spies.
Exactly.
She has no interaction
that's kind of
with
what I
any
meant
real
by
knights.
like kidnapped in that she doesn't know it, but
oh, for sure.
Like
for sure.
her situation is being completely controlled by the society.
For sure. I agree with that. Yeah, so Gavin was really just like so in that way that does kind of make the Sphinx a bit worse. I think
I still think personally for Kendra. It's
Kendra,
Gavin.
But I'm gonna put Sphinx second and Vanessa third.
Really?
Yeah. Because
why the Sphinx second?
Because I think just because of his hands in the other betrayals.
Yeah, he did really set up everything.
He sent Vanessa, he sent Gavin.
Yeah,
all with
he
the
literally
betrayal.
took Gavin out of the quiet box.
Yeah.
And then used him to start the Shadow Plague.
Yeah.
And then set up a way to kill all of her friends and family so that she would never see them again and then, be his little battery.
Yeah.
I've never thought about it this deep.
Yeah,
Holy
I know.
crap.
It's like the same thing about how we went into like the deep dive about what would have happened if Kendra her mind had been taken by the Oculus.
Yeah.
And we're like, he was planning on using her as a vegetable battery.
Mm-hmm.
Messed.
That started in book 3 with him trying to get her in Las Mesa and then not be able to go back to Fablehaven.
Mm-hmm.
Bruh.
Yeah.
I go back and forth between whether if the Sphinx is second or Vanessa is. Mostly because Vanessa was the first betrayal and she really trusted her as like a mentor and friend.
You're right in her being the first one. I don't know.
Because she kind of at least knew of the Sphinx longer because she read like the letter from the Sphinx in the first book.
Yeah.
But she didn't meet him till the second book. So she technically knew Vanessa longer. And it really started her arc of like
Trust issues?
not of trust issues. Yes.
Well,
So-
because like that first betrayal led to the second one almost immediately with Vanessa casting suspicion on the Sphinx.
Yeah. And that's what makes it interesting is because
Those two are very
Vanessa,
intertwined.
they're so intertwined and that Vanessa reveals or like you said, casts suspicion that the Sphinx is a traitor. I don't know. It's hard for me to rank which one is worse. I almost lean toward Vanessa. But I can definitely see the Sphinx.
Yeah. And I can see Vanessa.
Yeah. I think they're pretty close either way.
Yeah.
I think Kendra's, like, personally Kendra.
Yeah. I think his hands in all of the other pies sour him a little bit more for me. So that's why I'm putting him a little bit higher.
Yeah, that's fair.
But I also see where you're coming from with Vanessa being, like, the first betrayal, the one that really...
Well, and the way that, like, Vanessa, like... The way Kendra still wants to interact with Vanessa so much in the third and fourth book also, I feel like, makes it worse in that she still feels like a part of her wants to believe her. That she could be better or that she could still be useful or be her friend.
Yeah.
That almost makes it worse.
You're right. I would agree with you.
But they both,
It's
suck in their own way.
I was
but
gonna
then,
say it's a sucky situation
but
overall.
hey, Vanessa slew a dragon to save them, so
Yeah,
there's
pretty
that.
much.
And she helped get Kendra back.
Yeah,
after
maybe
she was
that's
kidnapped.
part of another reason.
So I guess that is partly why the Sphinx would be worse in that he
is
has no remorse.
unrepentant.
Exactly.
And to be fair, neither was Vanessa at the time.
That's true.
But also at the same time, Vanessa's actions were meant to she did not actively try to kill any of Kendra's family.
Yeah.
Whereas the Sphinx to be fair, indirectly at this point.
I mean, everything he
was
does is basically indirect.
But was indirectly orchestrating the destruction of her entire family.
Yeah. I don't know. It just depends on how you look at it.
Like, she bit them, took over control of Fablehaven, but was more or less she did not abuse her captives, except for sending, the ones that she had.
Yeah, sending the ones to the tower.
To Revenant.
Yeah.
But, she could have easily sent... I mean, she said, I prefer my own body for things infiltrating the vault. She could have sent Dale or one of them instead, but she did not. She went herself. So,
well, at first she sent them all though.
Yeah.
To feel out the danger.
And to be fair, she also did try to get rid of Seth.
Yeah, she basically did.
Do that.
She did try to kill Seth, basically.
Forgot about that.
With Coulter, and then
by taking him out
the thing
of
is,
the
she
house's
didn't know that it wouldn't kill them. She didn't know that Coulter would survive.
That's true. She was planning for Seth not to as well.
Yeah. So she could take care of.
Which is honestly kind of crazy.
But honestly, who was Olok's idea first? It was probably the Sphinx. To take out Seth. I mean, they set up the whole Olok thing from the beginning.
To get rid of Seth.
To get rid of Seth.
Because I imagine even at that point, they have some, they've been, texting the Sphinx being like, hey, so she can see in the dark now? She doesn't need milk. Is she okay?
Can you imagine the group chat of the society? It's just called, the society or something. Oh, my gosh.
But yeah, I imagine even when they first set up the Alok demon, Alok the glutton trap for Seth, I imagine at that point the Sphinx already has ideas that Kendra is valuable. So sorry, Kendra, only children under 14
he wanted
can go
to isolate her.
Even from Sphinx is up.
The Sphinx is definitely worse. I have decided.
I'm putting Gavin still at the top, but Sphinx is getting close.
Oh my gosh. He's so conniving. There's that. Oh my gosh. That's insane. It even goes, I didn't even think about that. The whole age thing where they were BSing about Kendra not being able to go in.
They might not have been BSing.
I think it was a BS.
Okay.
Because there would have been...
They could have said anything.
It's the only way to guarantee... Yeah, they could have said anything. That was the only way to guarantee that Seth was the one that fed...
The demon.
The Olok. Because they didn't know it was going to... He didn't know it was going to come alive.
Yeah. Seth, yeah. You know what I still wonder about on occasion?
What?
That dog.
The dog?
I still wonder about the dog! It has been 2 years.
Okay,
and I still wonder about that dog.
What about the dog?
Was it important?
I think it was just a guard dog.
Seth goes in. Okay, just to recap, because
we're talking about book 2.
I know I'm going. Somebody's really confused right now. When Seth goes into
way back in book 2,
into the mortuary to steal the statue of Alok the Glutton, he is given a dog biscuit by Errol to feed to the statue so that he can then pick it up. As he's getting in there, he disables the security system. He gets in. Everything's going according to the plan. And then this big dog just comes out of nowhere. So Seth is like, breaks the biscuit in half. Want a cookie? And the dog takes it and is just chill. And when Seth comes back out after he gets the statue, he's like,
how did you know about the dog?
He's like, thanks for warning me. He's like, thanks for warning me about the dog. And Errol's like, what dog? He's like, you didn't know about, you gave me a dog biscuit.
Dog biscuit.
How did you not know that there was a dog? And Errol's like, just shrugs. And I'm just like,
I've never really understood that interaction either.
It seems so out of place, and I kept expecting that dog to do something. Like, maybe it's the actual owner of the mortuary.
A dog.
And, he has a curse that,
that makes him a dog?
By day one way, by night another.
Underdog. Bat dog. I don't know.
I was going with, I was trying to get the Fiona spell from Shrek.
Oh. At night, he turns into a dog.
That's what I wonder.
In his own mortuary.
Grandpa says he's out
Isn't
of
he
town.
a Blix or a Blix?
No,
no.
They
They say
he's
he's a Blix. Yeah,
but he's
but
actually
he's
like,
actually just a Knight of the Dawn. Yeah.
or I think he might be retired, but yeah,
Yeah. Well,
he's a friend
once
of
a
Grandpa's.
night, always a night. I
let
think
me
it's
forget.
just a dog. I've
I
never
know,
really
I
understood
know.
it,
It just-
but
it felt-
it is kind of weird. I'm just like,
It's like the rule. Like if you show
why?
a gun during Act 1,
Chekhov's gun.
that gun needs to be fired by the end of by the end of Act 3. Yes, that was a direct quote from Brandon Sanderson. Sue me.
Okay, well, we talked about Chekhov's gun last time.
We did.
so-
It's just so that's my thing.
I don't know.
That dog.
Okay, but
occasionally
let's
runs
go back
across my
to
brain.
the Sphinx.
Being an absolute horrible
'Cause-
person.
Even before they plan to get rid of Seth, when they plan to get rid of Seth, he doesn't know for sure that she's fairy kind,
Yeah.
but he knows that there's something up with her.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, she
And so
seems
the
cool.
fact that he's like, yeah, like planning to use her is just crazy and like isolate her from everyone. That's wild.
Yeah. And
So, yeah,
honestly, if you think about it,
I agree.
the
The Sphinx is worse.
behind every single betrayal in her life.
Yeah.
Errol, Vanessa, Gavin, and obviously his own.
Yeah.
He is behind
You
every
know,
single
I don't even
one.
think Errol counts anymore, honestly.
Eh,
He
yeah.
was always,
He
I
was
mean,
much
he was
more
always-
of a tool.
yeah. He never did anything to help Kendra.
Except for Die.
Oh my gosh! That was cold! Holy.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, anyway. So yeah, it goes Gavin, the Sphinx, Vanessa.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, that was fun. That was like what?
That was crazy.
Like a 15-minute discussion just on that first
Okay.
question. All right.
Question number 4, you read it.
All right. This one we're kind of doing 2 questions in one.
Oh, yeah.
Number 4 and number
11.
11.
Yeah.
Because they're very connected. And that 11 kind of answers 4.
True.
So number 4 is, what makes Raxus feel like a failure as a dragon? Answer, nothing. He should feel like a great boy all the time, but he doesn't. And we're going to address that. What makes Raxus a good friend for humans? Are some of the things he dislikes about himself actually desirable qualities? Explain. And then 11, Raxus feels like he can never live up to what his father expects him to be. Have you ever fallen short of the expectations others had for you? How can high expectations be helpful? How can they be hurtful?
So yeah, Raxus feels like a failure because he can't live up to the expectations of his father.
Or the rest of his species.
Or the rest of his species.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's too much of a fairy to be a dragon, too much of a dragon to be a fairy.
Exactly. He's too much in the middle of these two worlds that are almost at odds
Pretty much,
with
yeah.
each other.
They are
And that
reluctant allies at best.
His home he doesn't feel comfortable in.
His skin he doesn't feel comfortable in.
But he has a home in the fairy world, but he doesn't want to be comfortable there.
Yeah, he even admits he
And
doesn't go
then-
and visit Shiara as much as he should.
Yeah.
His
But he wants to
foster
be
mother.
comfortable in what should actually be his home, but he's not.
Mhm.
He's an outcast.
Deception, disgrace, evil as
I was
plain
thinking
as
more,
the
isn't there a
scar on his
song in-
face.
The Hunchback of Notre Dame is like, God help the outcast or
Oh,
something.
that's a good one.
So what makes Raxus a good friend for humans?
He's nice.
Because once you talk to something, you can't eat it. It's off the menu.
It's off the menu.
His instinct to not just attack everything.
Yeah, just the fact that he doesn't feel comfortable in either of those worlds, I think just makes him eager to find a place somewhere else.
He wants a friend.
He just wants a friend. And so when he sees somebody else who perhaps is left behind, left alone, that's when he finally is able to reach out to Kendra.
I think another reason that makes him a good friend for humans is that he's he says he goes and sees drive-in movies. He goes out into the human world.
He is the most
invisible.
He is the most human of
He's
any
probably
magical
had
creature.
the most, maybe not direct interaction, but experience with the human world because he can just go invisible and just go wherever, you know? The fact that he knows what a drive-in movie is tells me that he goes out a lot. He spends a lot of time
Because he can.
in the outside world because he can.
Now I want to wonder, though, what would he look like if he just
I was just
without the
wondering
milk.
that, like,
A really shiny.
what would the dragons look? Because I guess the dragons could technically go out if they wanted to.
No, they can't. They're
Well,
bound to worm roost.
No, but I mean, like, if one dragon that wasn't Raxtus went out into the human world, would the humans really see anything? They gotta talk about that a little bit.
Well,
in Dragon
I'm wondering,
Watch.
kind of like similar to. Well, my first thought to compare, like, especially with like a big dragon, like, for example, if Celebrant comes charging out of Wormroost and like, I'm bringing fiery vengeance upon the humans. I'm picturing Typhon from Percy Jackson when he bursts out of Mount St. Helens in
Oh, they think it's like
book
an
5.
eruption.
Yeah, the mist, like the magical veil that obscures the eyes of humanity from the workings of the Greek ancient
In Percy Jackson.
in Percy Jackson, the Greek world. The mist disguises Typhon, who is this huge giant who can like battle the gods themselves,
Yeah.
as a storm system.
Yeah.
So
He's like a tornado and like, yeah.
he like just like a hurricane crashing across the United States. So I wonder if it would be something like that.
I think you're right. Yeah. Something similar to that.
Like maybe Raxus, because he is smaller, perhaps a really, really,
A horse? I don't know.
really, really shiny horse. Yeah.
A car?
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's
A
like
plane?
he's like the silver Porsche
Here we go.
going down the road.
But like the fact that Raxus not only has been in the human world, but like doesn't mind it. Like he wants, like he's not like against humans. I feel like is also what really adds to his ability to make friends with humans. Obviously,
And I would argue that answers the final question of question 4, which is, are some of the things he dislikes about himself, like his
He's
propensity for liking, like the fairy part of him that allows him to travel and do these kinds of things,
yeah,
actually desirable quantities. Yeah, it makes him human and it makes him able to relate.
yeah. He's not like ferocious or like he doesn't have that like hunter mentality that like Nafia shows, where she's like, "Oh, I'm hunting. I'm gonna eat you." You know, I don't really care. You know.
Yeah. I honestly, because we discussed earlier in this episode in our previous recording session, how different that, or maybe it was in the previous episode, how different dragons act depending on, like, whether or not they're in their avatar.
Dragon or human
Like,
form. Yeah.
Gavin/Navarog addresses this. He's like, yeah, when I was in my dragon form,
Yeah.
I may have actually killed you, but now that I'm in my human form, I'm actually quite fond. And we kind of argued that it might
That's
be
true.
the fact that they, in taking on human form, they're allowing for human influence to, as Brandon said, allow them to grow and change as characters, whereas as dragons, they are untouchable and unchangeable. I wonder if just because, like, if him in his fairy/human avatar, because it's supposed to be a human avatar, but he turns into a fairy, like, does he become even more human? Can he become more human, or is he human enough?
I think it's more that the influence of like the fairy magic makes him less. Like,
so you think he's already at the
I think he's
threshold?
already
Yeah.
there. You know.
So you don't think there's like a change between him from avatar to
I don't
dragon?
think he spends enough time in his avatar form
For us to
for it to really influence him, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Even more than he already has been. Like just
Yeah.
like the way he's grown up. Like he was also the fact that he was raised by fairies makes a difference, you know, like he's not like going out hunting with his dragon parents and siblings or whatever, you know, like not doing the normal dragon things.
Yeah. You know, and actually, I kind of wish that Rax did have a human form, just so that he could, like, just like, because he says he appears as a 3-foot fairy.
Yeah.
I really wish he did have a human form, just so that he could kind of be human. Like, he could just go and hang out in.
But would he ever come back, though?
He could go into the drive-in movies and talk to somebody instead of just sit there invisibly stalking Kendra.
And that's why he's so socially awkward.
I know.
I mean, yeah,
if there
you
was a
feel kinda
boon I
bad
could
for
give,
him,
if
but-
there was a boon I could give him at the end of this, it's that I would give him that access to the human
A
world.
boon. and
That was actually not intentional. Just for the record.
Don't talk about boons, man. I don't need to remember that part of Hearts of Radiance. Anyway.
Sweet boy.
Oh.
All right.
Cringe. Anyway.
All right, and then moving on to like the second half of the question with question 11.
Oh.
With high expectations. Because
Oh, yeah.
in some ways, I am learning. I'm
Oh,
currently.
you're talking about ourselves?
I'm just talking in general
Oh,
with
okay.
high expectations. I personally am training to become a teacher. A secondary level, in secondary education, middle school, high school level. High expectations are necessary. You need to have to give your students or children, young people, like they need goals and high levels to aspire to, because that's what pushes them to grow and to become more. However, you also have to complement that with high love. It's high love, high expectations. That is when you get the most growth out of students, out of children, out of young people, is when you're challenging them, but you're also giving them the support that they need to reach those expectations.
Isn't that like I remember what class I was in, but it was learning about like the different parenting styles, and it's like authoritarian versus authoritative, where it's like
I think it's
respect
relate to
but
it.
expectations. It's very similar to that.
I think they're definitely related.
It's like the same thing basically.
So
Yeah.
however, even with like high love, if you love your kid and you're supporting them in every way, and yet you're still expecting them to become a doctor by age 10.
Well, that's the thing about expectations. They have to be attainable.
Yeah.
And for Raxtus, his expectations or expectations from his father aren't, honestly, because it's really at odds with who he is, like his own moral character.
I was gonna say, yeah, because at first I thought you were going to go for like, because like physically he is not what his father wants him to be. He is not a large dragon. He does not have like 10 different breath weapons. That he is not.
Yeah, physically he can't.
He does not measure up to that dragon.
No,
but even you, and I love that you brought this up. Morally,
he's not the same. And that's what makes him different, is that he has different morals than the other dragons, because he sees the world in a different way because he was brought up differently.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you for... I like that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so how can they be hurtful? They make your kids hate you.
Yeah, if you only give them expectations and then don't give them a way to fulfill them, like Celebrant does with Raxus, I mean... And if we're talking about expectations, we can go back to, like, Grandpa and Seth. Grandpa has expectations of Seth, but they are attainable.
Yeah.
But
he does attain them
Seth's
in some ways.
expectations for himself collide with the expectations from his grandfather.
On occasion, yes.
On occasion. And that Grandpa always wants them to follow the rules, but it's also motivated by him wanting to always be safe because he cares about his safety.
And that's where the high love is
and that's where the high love is. And that's
where
good.
Yeah.
And that's why it's okay. Because that's why it works. But also, Seth has expectations of himself to do whatever he can so that they're successful in, what they're doing.
And going back to what you said, like, a second ago, like, more than that, it's, like, the fact that the grandpa cares and it's for his safety. More than that, it's okay. It's why it doesn't harm their relationship.
Yeah.
It's why Seth understands, like, Grandpa wants me to follow the rules because he loves me and he wants me to be safe.
And that's why they're healthy expectations.
That's why they're healthy expectations. For Seth, they are very high expectations. He's really got to reach.
He's never been able to reach them. We're still on book 4 and he still hasn't reached them. But
I mean...
He's been hitting his high expectations for himself.
No, he is getting closer, though. Like,
no, he really is. That's his whole character arc that we talk about.
Which we do need to talk about. We should probably move on to talk about that after this
we will.
Next question. Yeah. Because, like, he does start reaching those expectations, and you see Grandpa's pride in it. Like, even just, like, I reread a little bit earlier today of the Hall of Dread scene when Seth is like, I'm
hearing a voice.
I'm hearing a voice. I think I should go. And Grandpa's like...
He's shocked by that.
And even later on, Grandpa is treating him with more, like, respect and, like, I recognize that you made a good decision. I am proud of you.
Yeah.
Let's build on it.
Yeah.
Now, does Seth kind of spit on that and grind it under his foot when he goes with the whole Grunhold, when he goes to Grunhold, and then immediately afterwards turns around to go to Wormroost?
Okay, but then that's where
Kinda.
Seth's expectations of himself
Come in.
and are at odds with the expectations for Grandpa. And then that makes an interesting discussion of like whose expectations take priority. Others' expectations or the expectations for yourself?
I'm going to raise you one thing. Seth also has expectations of his grandparents.
Yeah.
He expects them to not only protect him and take care of him, he expects them to help him.
Yeah.
To help him reach his potential. He's like, if you're going to expect these things of me, I expect things from you. It's the same thing that all kids expect of their parents.
It's true.
They don't expect to be, or at least they shouldn't, like the more spoiled ones might. They should not expect to be coddled and swaddled and taken care of it and cared for, their every whim cared for. They should expect you to challenge them and to push them. And I think that's where Grandpa is at the end of this book, where he recognizes that Seth made good decisions for what he thought was right, that he had this expectation for himself, and he had expectations for his authority figures around him. And Grandpa decided, I'm going to rise to those expectations, and I'm going to not enable him to make wrong decisions. He is going to support him and make those expectations and help him meet. So they're both reaching their high expectations.
And the way that Grandpa does that at the end of the book is that he makes him a knight.
Yes. And he shows in
Officially.
a very clear and obvious way to everyone, not even just to Seth, but to everyone around. I see my grandson, I am proud of him, and I am going to support him.
Yeah.
It almost brings a tear to my eye when I think of it like that.
And then it comes crashing down with the fact that
they tried.
No, it comes crashing down. Oh, the point of like Seth being happy that he's a knight comes crashing down with the fact that they find out that their parents were kidnapped by the society. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, it low-key reminds me of like the point in Avengers Endgame where, spoilers, Tony is just like, they're like on this flying donut and Tony is stressed beyond belief. And he finds out that
War.
Yeah, you're right. It is Infinity War. He is stressed beyond belief, and he sees Peter's there, and he's just like, right, fine.
He's like, you're not supposed to be here.
He's like, you're not supposed to be here, but there's nothing I can do. And so he just goes, he like taps him on both shoulders. He's like, kid, you're an Avenger now.
No.
Walks away, and then Tom Holland, because he's an absolute G and the best Spider-Man, and I will die on that hill. He like has this moment where like his face is just like covered with like this awe, like, oh my gosh, I'm an Avenger. And like you can kind of hear the music swell where he's got like this giddy smile, but then he like just kind of like
he stands up straighter.
He stands up straighter, and he's like, you can see the weight kind of settling on him. Like, okay, Tony is trusting me. He's giving me these expectations. I am going to rise to them. And he you see him collect himself and compose himself and just be ready for what's coming next. Brilliant acting, Tom. We love it.
Good.
We stand.
We're the Avengers, man.
You know, he was so happy to say that.
Yeah.
We. It's not just this is Iron Man, this is an Avenger.
Thor told us about.
We are the Avengers.
Yeah.
We
Okay.
are Groot.
Got really low for that one.
Vin Diesel. Isn't it Vin Diesel?
Mm-hmm. It is Vin Diesel. Okay. So yeah. Raxtus
Is amazing.
He's one of my favorite characters. He's good. Okay, so the last question we're going to talk about with the reading guide is question number 8. Mm-hmm. The key at Wormroost was well guarded. Why did the knights choose to go after the key? Do you agree with their decision? Why or why not?
I mean,
it was well guarded, but Patton got in there.
Yes.
He put it there.
I still need to know how. I need to know how he gets in there.
We don't know how, but...
You're totally right. Because Patton got in there, you know it's not impregnable.
Yeah.
But at the same time...
Do you think they should have left it?
Patton doesn't think so, so... And I trust
You're
Patton.
trusting Patton?
As the ultimate authority in this universe, yes.
I mean, yeah. Patton's
no, but I mean just like... I understand why they did it. But at the same time, why they did it is exactly why Patton hid it in the first place. Like, he makes the argument in book 3, like, organizations like the Knights of the Dawn, who specialize in gathering secrets and carrying and, like, trying to keep things hidden, only succeed in keeping the secrets and the mysteries alive. And so if you...
It's like the more people that know about it, even though they're part of a secret society, there's
more,
still more people that know about it.
Those are more...
It's more risk.
Flaws in the chain.
Yeah.
Two can secret... But, like, on the other hand, you have Patton being like, two can keep a secret if one is dead. And...
Yeah.
It feels like...
Well, and I feel like they're also motivated by the knowledge of Novorog, thinking that Novorog was like trying to go after it. And also the thought of, well, if we have it in our possession, we have control over it, you know, and we can, knowing where, almost the idea of like knowing that we have it in our possession, like makes it maybe not safer, but in better hands than not knowing if it's still at the sanctuary or not, I guess.
Okay. I have something to say.
Go ahead.
The society did not know where the key was until she translated the message in the Hall of Dread.
That's the thing.
At that point, I think as long as they still have complete control over that information, because they do, until Kendra goes into the Hall of Dread and reads that message aloud, she is the only key to receiving that information. And so I think at that point, you take Kendra and you hide her. Because they still have executive control of that, and you know, well, I mean, you do know that the enemy has the Oculus, so that does make things difficult. Yeah. But I think at that point, you just say...
But do you think there's not a single other person on Earth that could read that?
Ron did.
I wasn't thinking. I was just thinking in general.
I'm thinking currently...
Surely there's some magical creature or someone who could theoretically read it, and it's not just Kendra. In the whole wide world, you think it's only Kendra that could read the stuff in the Hall of Dread? Not necessarily someone that would help the society, but that like could read it.
You make a point.
But yeah,
well, I mean, that's what we were led to believe.
The fact that they didn't know everything until Kendra like reads the stuff that Patton leaves is the part that gets me. I'm like, technically you could, like you were saying, you could have just not opened Pandora's box, but you chose to. But at the same time, I don't know. I still feel like they're, I don't know.
I think they're trying.
What is it that they say? Because I swear it's something with like, they're also motivated by hearing that like Novorog is trying to go after it. Am I wrong?
No, they do mention that. No, wait, no, they did see it. The Sphinx sees the Oculus with the Sphinx sees the key with the Oculus, so they do know that's where Roost.
Okay.
Hang on, actually, I'm gonna check that.
That's why that must. Okay.
That's what motivates them. You are right. Okay, hang on. It's Gatecrasher.
Yeah, it would be with Gatecrasher because that's what Gavin says. He says all we had to do was tell the Sting Bulb that Novorog was going after the key to motivate you to go after the key yourselves. And then who would you send with you to Dragon Sanctuary? The Dragon Prodigy, Gavin.
Yep, Sphinx used the Oculus. He had trouble, but he survived. What does he know? He was trying to find the location of the key to an artifact called the Translocator. He had previously purchased information from a member of the family that manages the Obsidian Waste Preserve in Australia. Wait, they knew that there's a traitor? Frick, they're idiots.
What?
Freak. Okay. Maybe
spoilers for book 5.
Maybe.
Okay.
If this was before they knew,
1.
Maybe if they didn't know this was, if this was before the Sphinx revealed his turncoat colors. Maybe. If this was like a few years ago, before everyone knows he's a turncoat.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
they think,
that's
oh,
plausible.
if anybody we can trust
Surely
Sphinx for
it's
the
the
information
Sphinx.
that Patton.
Yeah.
So that's when he finds out. Apparently, Patton. Otherwise, holy frick, they're idiots.
They forgot, I guess. I don't know. The heat of the moment, they weren't thinking, oh yeah, didn't the stink bulb say something about someone from Obsidian Waste?
Helping the Sphinx.
Also, I don't really feel the need for spoiler alert because it's literally the first chapter of Book 5, so...
The first 10 pages,
No,
honestly.
it's actually not chapter 1. It's chapter 2, technically, but A Dying Wish is chapter 1.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
Okay, chapter 2.
Okay.
Sorry, chapter 2.
I don't know. Dying Wish feels honestly like a prologue.
It is like a
It's the most prologue-ish feeling.
It definitely is.
All right, but yeah, so apparently
chapter.
Patton took the key from the preserve. This is still the stink bulb talking.
Yeah.
And hid it. Did the Sphinx find out where? Kendra asked. Yes, the stink bulb said. The key is at a dragon sanctuary called Wormroost, north of Montana. He plans to send in somebody named Navarog to retrieve it.
Okay, yeah. I was like, I swear they say something about Navarog, so that is why they're motivated.
They're motivated by fear, prompting them into action.
Yeah.
Because of the... Okay. That makes me feel a little bit better.
It makes a lot more sense of why.
I think they still should have waited to have Kendra read the stuff in the Hall of Dread.
Why, though? If they think Navarog has a chance of getting there before they do.
Well, once they find out that Navarog is on the case, then they're like, okay, now we need to go.
Yeah.
But until they know, like maybe
I guess they did.
Maybe
do
have
it before.
Kendra read it and be like, hey, is there anything we need to know, anything pressing that like we need to address as soon as possible? And because the only thing that's in there is information on the Brazil preserve and the translocator key.
Yeah.
That's the only information in there. So she looks up there and she finds out, she reads, okay, the Brazil artifact is here, but we don't need to worry about that because Oculus is already gone. She finds out that, oh, Dragon Sanctuary, that sounds dangerous. I bet that seems safe. She can say, no, nothing pressing. We're good. So she has the information. But then once they find out Navarog's in the case, they should be like, oh, yeah, that's bad. So, I don't know.
Well, and after they find out Navarog, that's when they're like, okay, we need
that's when
the first horn of a unicorn to get in. So that is when they really start to take action.
Yeah.
But I feel like they also do the Hall of Dread thing, first of all, because the sting bulb of Maddox was going after it. And so they're like, okay, this is worth looking into. Also, they just got Kendra back.
Yeah.
And so now they actually can, like, look at it.
Did they tell the knights before they find out about Navarog that where the key is? Like, were they already planning on sending a team?
I don't know.
And also, what was the motivation behind the assassins at the hotel? Was it just to scare them more, do you think? Or actually to take Kendra again?
Could have been both. I never actually thought about the motivation behind why they send assassins.
Because, I mean, like...
Yeah.
It's not like Percy Jackson where, like, the monsters smell buttery bread. They're like, ooh, demigod on the menu.
It's not just random monsters. It's definitely someone that was tracking them. Yeah.
It's a planned assassination that only barely fails because Seth's abilities are starting to manifest.
They're trying to isolate
which the
Kendra
Sphinx
again.
doesn't know about.
That's true. He doesn't
the Sphinx doesn't know that there's anybody who could feasibly foil this assassination attempt.
Exactly. He doesn't know about much of Seth's powers.
Yeah.
If at all. Does he know anything about Seth's powers?
Not until...
Surely he doesn't. Like anything. Because he would have betrayed before. Like, because they don't... Like, Seth and the Sphinx don't see each other except for in book 2.
Unless somebody mentions
Unless someone mentions it.
A Night of the Dawn. In
and
between...
it leaks.
Yeah, in between... him becoming a formalized...
But Seth doesn't even realize about his powers till during the Shadow Plague.
That's what I'm saying.
And no one really... They're not even, like, talking... They're trying to even get in contact with the Sphinx.
That's what I'm
answering.
saying. If something
so
leaks...
does he even know?
In between him getting his powers formalized by Graulus, like, when they're coordinating this, like, oh, by the way, did you hear about this? My brother Seth is, like, weird. And, like, it somehow makes its way through the upper echelons of the Knights of the Dawn management until it finds a traitor and then makes to the Sphinx. Yeah, the Sphinx I think is still in the dark about. He's still in the shadow about
In the
Seth's
shadow.
shadowy
Being a
abilities.
shadow charmer. Yeah, I don't think he really knows.
And I wonder when he finds out, because Gavin was intending to take Seth because of his abilities. And so, yeah, I'm not sure.
What was the question again? Sorry, I went
That
way
one
forward in
was,
the book.
were the Knights of the Dawn justified in taking the key? I think at the point where they find out
Yes.
that Navarog is on...
I mean, they were manipulated into it.
yes, for sure. But I think for the information that they had, they made the right choice.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. For the information they had, which, of course, they were manipulated by the information. So they played right into the society's hands. But Kendra and Seth managed again to foil their plans just enough.
It's just not fair.
Why did that remind you of that?
Well, it's just because, like, I've seen some reels, like, Voldemort, when his plans are repeatedly foiled by a teenager. It's just not
So do you think there's, like, a
fair.
therapy for people who have been foiled by
villains?
teenagers? That's, like, every dystopian
Villain
novel.
talk group?
Let's see, The Hunger Games, Harry Potter, Fablehaven,
Kronos, Percy Jackson.
Percy Jackson,
For sure.
Sure, and it's mostly Percy.
And Gaia.
Yeah.
So here's Olympus as well. Let's see. Really, any middle school,
Any YA middle school
YA
novel
where
all the
a
villains,
teenager is the
the reason that it's always
nail
gonna
with
be the main
lift.
character. True.
Or okay, so
But he also respects her too, though.
initially I think he's just like,
Well, no, but like in Wind and Truth, he's almost like,
oh yeah, for sure at that point. But like when he's first trying to get
Oh,
like,
yeah,
to take
yeah,
her
yeah.
out, he is so annoyed.
he's like, what?
So
You Make
annoyed.
this harder.
He's like, dang it.
I'm just trying to get over my. I'm
Loophole.
just trying to ignore my trauma, and you're making my job harder.
True though.
I'm doing this because if I don't, the demons in my brain take over. Anyway. Yeah.
I am the
honestly.
demons. I am the monster. Rah, rah,
Anyway,
rah.
I don't know why I thought of that. I just thought it was kind of funny.
No, for sure. It's. I mean, it's literally every single.
I mean, that's why they're the chosen ones.
I mean,
She thinks
Lord
you're the chosen
Ruler,
one.
ro-
I am the chosen one.
I am the Lord Ruler
sorry.
within.
Avatar.
Oh, for sure.
A 112-year-old, whichever one.
To be honest, he acts like a 5-year-old.
Yeah, he does.
But we love him.
Hotman.
Hobbit.
I could say
Stay
so
flaming.
many Avatar quotes.
Oh my
right
gosh!
now.
I used an Avatar quote today in class. We were talking about.
They appreciated it.
There were a few in each
Okay.
class because I did it in every single class. We were talking about like the climate of desert climates and like how civilizations can adapt to that.
Drink
And I was like,
cactus juice.
that is a reference. I was like,
Nice.
well, guys, like, if you need water in the desert, what are you gonna look for? And they were like, cactus. I'm like, yep, I know. I'm like, yeah, if you're ever stuck in the desert, you gotta make sure you drink the cactus juice. I hear it's the quenchiest.
And were some of them just looking at you like,
Oh, there were
what
so many
the frick
confused
is wrong
looks,
with
but
you?
I got at least 1 or 2 in every class, and I'm calling that a win.
Hey,
They're like,
they know good stuff.
I was like,
I'm
okay, I'm
proud.
glad some people in here are cultured.
Yeah.
Oh man, we do not know how good we had it, or actually we do. We had it so good.
Oh, we do.
All right,
so
moving
many.
on to the discussion phase.
Anyway, okay. So, let's talk about character arcs.
Seth.
Seth,
Our-
this is really like Seth's time to shine.
This is his book.
It's Kendra's time to be anxious and depressed and stressed.
It's not.
And
It's honestly. It's not just that. It's her. Like, she's matured through the last 3 books, but this is the book where she's like, okay, we're done.
I also feel like
She like locks in.
it's her time to really, I don't know, feel the stakes of everything even more.
No, I totally agree. I feel like the last of her innocence at this point.
Like
Right
it
out the window.
started with Lena dying in the last book, you know,
Mhm.
because like
And Vanessa
before
betraying her.
then, and the Sphinx betraying. Before then, it was really mostly contained in Fablehaven, and then when she left Fablehaven, everything was fine. But then all of a sudden, she's at home, and
Well, even
She
when
gets
she
kidnapped.
when she leaves Fablehaven, like people die. Like
Yeah.
they lose 2 people on that vault run in Lost Mesa.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think that's really the start of it, is the beginning of book 3. And then just between
Well, it's
that,
also
Lena dying, and Gavin and him betraying her.
But like, I think another point of what I'm trying to say is like, it's dangerous not just inside the preserves, but outside.
Oh yeah, she has no more safe places.
Like, it was kind of dangerous in book 2, and that's why they had to go back to Fablehaven so quickly, because the society was kind of closing in. But it's a whole nother level when she's literally kidnapped from her job in, you know, in the middle of the open.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I would argue Seth gets a positive character arc and Kendra gets a negative character arc, where she
Yeah.
has to become more hardened, more cold, more distrusting, where he becomes more capable, mature, and trustworthy.
Yeah. He's really reaching more into his potential.
Mm-hmm.
And Kendra's seeing more of the potential dangers of everything.
Nice play on words there.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
Okay.
yeah.
What's your favorite part about Seth's character arc? Or just like a good moment that you like? I really like, and this could be played off for laughs, but it's also like, I like when he comes back with the horn, and everyone is like, well, because they thought he went just to look at the centaurs because he was mad he didn't get to go, but
Horn.
he actually went to get the horn and he got
Horn.
it, and that's when they're all like, oh,
When Hugo's
you
pointing
weren't
at
just
Seth,
being dumb. Exactly. When Hugo's like, horn.
and he's like, "Yes, we hear the horns." No, horn.
Yeah, I think that's probably like one of my favorite parts with Seth's character arc, and that I guess it's more about people believing that he can do what he wants, like what he wants to achieve, but I just think that's such a good moment.
I think for me, I love that moment, and I was initially going with that, but now that you mention it, I'm gonna choose another one. I'm gonna say right before their confrontation with Soletta. We talked about it earlier this episode when Kendra says just straight up, "You just want to kill a dragon,"
Yeah.
and Seth's like, "Yeah, I think it'd be cool, but you know what? I want to do more than that. I want to get this done. I want to get the key, and I want to go home."
He wants to go home from the dragon sanctuary.
He acknowledges that he still has that flaw. He knows he's an adrenaline junkie. He knows that for sure. He's aware of it. He acknowledges it and he accepts it as a part of who he is. But he also shows he has it under control.
Yeah.
He's not running into a fight trying to kill a dragon willy-nilly. He analyzed the situation. He came up with a probable solution. Does he want to kill a dragon? Yes. But he has come up with valid reasons why he should be the one to kill this one. That is my favorite Seth moment for this book, when he says, "I have a plan. It's well thought out. It's well strategized. Nobody can dispute it. And he knows he's capable. He's confident. He's going to get it done." That was a patent moment for me.
It really was.
It was a patent moment.
And it wasn't a patent moment that he wanted to do cool stuff. It was a patent moment that I want to do the cool stuff, but I'm capable of achieving what I want to do.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that
In a way that
Kendra
makes
steps
sense.
up there right with him immediately and says, "He's
Yeah.
right. We can do that." Love that moment.
Probably one of my
Because
favorite. It's one of my favorite moments.
That's
Kendra.
her also accepting he's not just in this for the fun, the thrill. He's thought this through. I trust him and
And she's gonna support her brother.
and she's gonna support him.
Yeah.
And if he dies, well, at least we'll die together.
Yeah.
Fair.
Going out together.
It's going down.
Okay, so would you say that's your favorite Kendra part of this?
Kendra part. I might need a second. Do you have one for Kendra already?
I don't know, because I feel like her character arc is more about her relationships with other people, and it's not like she. I don't know if she really has like her character arc is more subtle. I feel like than Seth's, obviously.
I've thought of two.
Okay.
In this past minute or two. The first one I thought of was when she is in Sidestepped Cleft, everybody's gone.
Yeah.
So actually, no, it's the two parts. It's the two parts in this one. She is left completely on her own.
Yes.
And she has nowhere to go and nothing to do. The first time, she's abandoned that box canyon after the griffin attack and everybody's been taken off to Thronus. She's alone with Warren, who's basically an invalid at this point.
You literally can't help.
She finds out that she's stuck in this box canyon, and she just sits down and cries.
Yeah.
I think that's a great character moment, because up until this point, there's almost always been something she could do, but at this point, there's nothing she can do, and so she just healthily, I am not, I repeat, I am not saying she is weak for this. I am saying she is strong.
First of all, if you think anyone is weak for crying, you're weak yourself, honestly.
Yes. I just want to make sure we're clear on this. I am not, like...
If you think crying is a weakness, you need to go to therapy anyway.
Yes, precisely. Please go get therapy. Also, go get therapy. Even if you
we all need therapy. We all need therapy. Yeah, anyway, sorry. Okay. I didn't mean to be so, direct about that, but...
No, you're good.
I have strong feelings about that.
I also agree, but I'm going to continue. Okay, so she just sits down and she cries. And that's when she first meets Raxus. But in that moment, she accepts that there's nothing she can do, that there's things outside of her control, and she just has a very healthy release of all of those emotions. With I'm going to assume, or I'm going to theorize based on my previous experience with this character. Once she has that cry, she will get back up, she will find a way, and even without Raxus coming in and saving her behind, she's going to find a way to do something about this.
She always does.
Because she always does. So I love that character moment for her. Yeah. And number 2, pretty much throughout this book, when things have happened, she has either run away, or she is hid, or she's taken a gaseous potion, or something like that.
True.
She is, she's always being pushed to the side, pushed behind somebody, sent off on the flying deer. Everybody is always trying to protect her. So once she has no more protectors and she's in Sidestep Cleft after Dragon Gavin has now erupted and is fighting, she says, and it's not so much as what she does, it's so much of what she says. It's right at the end of chapter 26.
Yeah.
She just says, she goes in and she tells Warren, and she's super stressed, as you might imagine. She grabs the rain stick, she goes outside, and she just starts shaking it because, and this is the quote from the book, she had no idea how long it would take to conjure up a big storm, especially if Thronus resisted. It might not work before Gavin or other enemies came for her. It might not work at all. But she was sick of hiding, sick of feeling afraid. This was much better than cowering in the knapsack.
I love that. Okay, here you go. There's Kendra taking action for you.
Yeah. And maybe it wasn't built up to, but for me, this is just her being I have been kidnapped. I have been emotional. I would say emotionally and mentally tortured. I don't know where my brother is.
She was forced to use the Oculus.
For sure, torture. I just watched 2 people die. My kind of boyfriend just tried to kill me. I'm stressed, but I'm gonna do something about it. Gosh darn it.
She's not victimizing herself.
Yep.
And I really like how you pointed out that this entire book, and honestly a lot throughout the series, I feel like in every book she has her chance where I'm going to do something about this. Mm-hmm. And I think this part is really awesome because, you're saying, all these things that you just said that are, weighing down on her, most people would just crumble and, hide in the knapsack and...
I raise my hand
Jessica's
first.
raising her hand. Amen. No, Kendra really shows her strength here. I love that you pointed this out because it wasn't something that I was thinking about, but it's very true. Yeah. She faces down Navarog.
Yeah.
Alone.
And
by herself,
takes a swing at him even.
Takes a swing at him.
Before Raxus shows up, because
tries to
what
do
else
anything.
could she do?
Because she knows that he can overpower her, but she still wants to try something. She doesn't want to go quietly. That's what she said. She's I'm not going to go with you willingly.
And even when she does say that she will, it's only to protect Warren.
Yeah.
Because she's got that mama bear grandma source and instinct in her too.
She's a Burgess.
All right. I also have one more thing to add.
Okay.
I feel like that feels so much more powerful, especially right now when we're talking about it, because how much of the last hour have we been talking about how the Sphinx has been trying to control or to possess Kendra?
Yeah.
Or Gavin has been shoving her, or even throughout the book, Gavin has been shoving her aside, protecting her, shielding her.
Caesar is goods to be protected.
An object.
An object.
She has been an object
Yes!
so much during this book.
To be carted around and used when needed.
Mm-hmm. And here, she's like, no. No more. I'm done.
I'm not going to be used anymore. I'm going to do something.
Mm-hmm. And I think that carries over into the next book. And I just think that is some great, great, great character right there.
Hell yeah, Kendra. You know, I've never thought about it this much because, like, yeah, she, like, shakes the stick and stuff, but, like, the way she, like, says it, like what you were saying with, like, the quote with, like, Warren, and because Warren's like, well, maybe just, like, try it in here, you know, like, he's like, you could stay in here, and she's like, no, I'm going out,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Kendra's so cool, man.
That was good.
Do you appreciate Kendra a little more after that?
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm
Especially in
glad.
this book, because like we were
I'm
talking
glad.
earlier about her just being like, it was like kind of a negative arc with her just kind of being sad and depressed and disillusioned with the world. But now this is just her being like, no, you know what? I've been through some freaking crap today,
Well, and that's
but I'm going to stand up.
That's the admirable thing about Kendra is that despite all the odds she always faces, she gets back up.
Mm-hmm. We've seen that from the very first book.
She doesn't actually give up. She feels like everything is telling her to give up, but she never actually does.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's give her a round of applause. Yeah. Even better, even better. Woo!
Yeah, Kendra.
Yeah, Kendra. All right. And yeah, go Seth. Go Seth.
Yeah,
Give us another 1%.
Seth.
Yeah, Seth. Woo!
Ooh.
Yeah, he earned that one too.
Yeah.
He did some solid growth.
I mean, Seth does. A lot of this is like Seth's time to really do stuff.
Would you believe that I did not think of any of that before we started talking about this? That was all just like...
Honestly, I think of a lot of things on the fly too, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah. It was just like, huh. It just started kind of snowballing.
No, that
So,
was
yeah.
really good.
That was fun.
I'm glad to hear that from you because in the past you've dissed Kendra a little bit. So I'm
I
really
have.
glad
I have.
that you're seeing all of this.
But I also
proud.
recognize, like, Fablehaven is Kendra's arc very much. Seth does a lot of growth, but
Yeah.
Kendra is...
That's what Brandon has said himself, that
This-
Fablehaven is more
Kendra's
Kendra's
arc.
really time to develop, and then Dragon Watch is Seth's, which
Looking
we're
forward-
not going to get
you
more
know,
into that.
I look forward to doing Dragon Watch, if only to see Seth's development.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe the plot wasn't something we were like wowed with when we read it through the first time.
I mean, the plot's decent.
It's decent. It wasn't what we were
It's-
expecting, but it was decent. But I'm excited to like really dive in deep and see what
It's
what
very,
gems we can
it's a
find,
lot more.
like we just did.
Okay, we don't need to talk about Dragon Watch right
Yeah.
now. I was going to start
Well,
getting
I'm just
to
saying,
it, but
like,
yeah.
we did not expect to find such good stuff about Kendra, but
Yeah.
we did, and I'm excited to do that for Dragon Watch. So
Well, yeah, because when you look at this book at like face value, a lot of things happen to Kendra.
Yep.
But there's not much that she really does on her own,
Mhm.
of her own accord.
Yep.
But at the very end, she tries her best to stand up to Navarog.
and it's small,
And that's huge, though.
Yeah, it's small in what it actually affects, but it's huge in what it means
It's
for
huge
her.
in what it means for her after everything that's happened to her this book.
Mhm.
Okay. So let's move on to favorite quotes. Okay. You want me to go first? or
Yes,
you want-
please. I
Okay.
need to find some of mine.
Do you want? I think I had a funny one and a serious one. Which should we do first? Let's do funny
Let's
first.
do funny. I have a feeling I know what yours might be. I
well-
think you know what mine might be.
I have. It's
I
probably
have
not the one you think
so
of.
many.
It's not the one. Okay, we all know that we like the one with
The headstones.
the headstone with Warren being
There's-
like,
there's
Seth
been
is in
so-
charge of my
Yeah,
tombstone.
there's
We
been a
talked
lot of
about that
tombstone
enough.
gags. All right,
That's enough.
That's enough.
Okay. So mine comes from what chapter is this? Horns again.
Oh, horns. Okay.
Yeah. And my favorite, the implications of it are funny. It's grandma saying, very few men who live their lives like Patton Burgess die in bed, grandma said gravely, extinguishing the Snickers, which is funny that it's making people not laugh, but
It
I
makes
just think
me
it's
laugh.
really funny. Where she's like, Patton was great, but you shouldn't idolize him for everything because
Like he is the exception, not the rule.
99% of people that did what he did would have died before he did. So I just think that's funny.
Mhm.
That was one of my favorite ones.
That's a good one. I think for funny moments, I'm gonna go with also in horns, where Kendra wakes up hearing the horns and looks over to see that Seth's not in bed, and just immediately her sister senses start tingling.
Seth tingling.
Her Seth sense
Is tingling.
Her sister sense / or what Seth would call her tattletale sense.
Yeah.
Starts tingling, and then immediately goes outside and hears that the centaurs are agitated. She just has chills, and she's just like, Seth's gone. And everybody just goes, what?
Yeah. She has to break the news.
The fact that she
It
immediately
it's
wakes
the situation.
up. No, it's the entire situation, yeah. And I mean, there are other really funny moments, like just
Or like
Seth ragging on Kendra about her relationships.
Yeah.
Every time Verl or Gavin are brought up, every time
he's
Seth's
doing the younger brother,
every time Seth
has
is
to.
quintessential younger brother. I love.
Also, another part I highlighted, I think it's also in Horns, when Seth is saying who they'll take to Warm Roost, and he's like, they're going to choose old people like Warren. I'm like, bro, Warren is not
I really
old.
wish Warren had heard that.
Warren would have been so like, oh, I think we talked about this.
Yeah. And also, can we ignore the unicorn incident when he brings the horn back and breaks it?
Oh,
like I know
we talked about that.
We'll have already talked about it in this episode, but
yeah, it's
hysterical.
He needed something to lighten the mood a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
we'll go with those. Yeah.
I have an honorable mention serious quote, and then like my favorite.
Yeah.
Or one of my favorites.
I'm gonna have to track mine down.
Do you have one or two?
I have a couple.
Okay. I'll do mine first. Okay. So my honorable mention is from Raxtus, but it's how the quote applies to his character arc later in the book.
Go for it.
And it's when he says, "My fondest dream is to be a hero, to be fierce and brave and somehow prove myself a real dragon." And I just love how that applies later when he really proves himself by saving Kendra from Navarog and eating Navarog. Like, he's so and I just love his character. Is also going back to character arcs with Raxtus, even though he's not here for a long time, but he's here for, a good time. Not a good time, but you know what I mean. And just how that applies to his, like, he is a hero. He saves Kendra. Like, yeah, he kind of has to be goaded into it at first, but, like, when all is said and done, he does what is right. And that's something I love about Raxtus.
Yep.
Is that his moral compass is always pointed in the right direction.
He's got a true north. This boy is our North Star.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my honorable mention. So what's your favorite?
Or
one of your favorites? Because we don't have much time.
I know. I'm trying to find it.
It's okay.
It's because I don't think I was using this book when.
Oh, okay.
We were.
What part?
It was like.
Was it earlier or later?
It was, I think, Hall of Dread. Hall of Dread might be it.
Oh, do we have the same one?
No.
Oh, mine's in Hotel, technically. Is it about Seth?
It's mostly Seth, just
is
because,
it
like,
from Grandpa.
I think it is.
Okay, because I have one. It's probably similar.
Oh gosh.
Do we have the same quote?
If we do, it's a good sign.
Hey, that means it is the best part.
I'm gonna say this one's my honorable mention.
Okay.
I have a different one for my favorite.
Okay.
So for my honorable mention, what I'm going to go with is, if I can find it, for crying out loud. There's a difference between listening and.
Oh no.
Okay, that's mine.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. I swear, where is it?
It's okay.
Okay, here we go. Okay, so yeah, my honorable mention is when Seth is talking to Grandpa after the experience that they had in the Hall of Dread, where Seth maturely and surprisingly was like, "Hey, I'm concerned. I am uncomfortable. I want to leave this situation." And Grandpa's like, "Yes, by all means, go."
Yes, please. You're hearing voices? Yes, please leave.
And so, but they're talking about this afterwards, and Seth is expressing his concerns about, like, I'm hearing these dark voices. I saw dark things when the Shadow Plague was happening. Does that make me an evil person? And like, he's like, why can I hear them if that's not the case? And Grandpa says, I don't know why you can hear these things, but I do know that there is a difference between hearing and listening. You can't always help what you hear, but you can control what holds your interest, what you choose to dwell on. I really like
That's
that
so
just because,
good.
like, you have Seth, who is a shadow charmer, which is a traditionally very evil scene. Like, it is an infamous person. Not
Yeah.
good, not somebody you want to have around. And he now has these powers, but he gets to decide what to do with them. They do not make him.
He gets to decide what influences him.
Yep.
What, like, he hears versus listening to.
Yep. So yeah,
My
that's what I'm choosing for my honorable mention.
my favorite one is like a page before that, very similar.
Yeah.
That same conversation. Okay, so mine comes from Grandpa, also same conversation, like I said, and it's recognizing dark elements imperceptible to others doesn't make you evil. Grandpa said firmly. Neither does having courage. We all possess different gifts and abilities. How we use those gifts determine who we are. I
Banger.
love that.
Banger.
It is such a banger quote because it's so true. And it goes along with like the hearing versus listening, obviously because it's in the same conversation. But I love how he also points out the fact that Seth has courage.
Mm-hmm.
And he has these gifts for a reason, but it's up to him to choose how to use them for good. Just because he has these gifts that are traditionally dark, or like you said, traditionally used by infamous people who are evil, doesn't make him evil. It's how he uses them. How we use these gifts determine who we are. Mm-hmm. And I just love that so much.
100%. All right. And then I'm going to say my favorite, just because like I was kind of scrolling through, and maybe if I looked longer, I'd find a different favorite. But right now, this one kind of stood out to me.
Yeah.
Kendra is pissed because Seth snuck along to Wormroost, and she's scared. She just had a close encounter with the dragon.
Yeah.
She is stressed beyond belief, and she's shaking Seth like, "What the heck are you doing here? You could die. Like why are you here?" And Seth's like, "Well, I'm here because, believe it or not, I don't want you to die." And he says, "I know what it feels like to bury you, and I'd rather not go through that again." And I can just hear like after that, she kind of brushes it off and like moves on to like, well, Grandma and Grandpa are gonna kill you. But I just love that moment for what it means for his character, because like I reread a little bit at the beginning of this book where Seth is he's sitting in the graveyard after the funeral. He is mourning the loss of his sister. He's talking to Grandpa, and he willingly, of his own volition, says, "Grandpa, I did something wrong. Kendra caught me and was going to turn me in, but now that she can't do that, I am willingly going to give back the gold that I took from Fablehaven because it's the right thing to do." This is that boy. He's like, I went through so much because I lost you, and I don't want to do that again. I am not doing this because I want to see dragons. I want to go on this cool adventure. I don't want to lose you. That hits me.
It's great writing because his character motivation is consistent throughout the book. Mm-hmm. And that what happens to Kendra and how he thinks that she's dead really motivates him to grow so much. Mm-hmm. And then when she's back again, all of a sudden, she's like basically brought back alive again. And for him, like, he doesn't want her to die again.
It's honestly interesting how instead of his character growth happening over the course of an entire book, kind of like how Kendra's does, his growth happens all at the beginning in those first few chapters.
Yeah.
The growth happens in that he's demonstrating now for everybody else how he has grown.
Yeah.
He's
seen how he's grown.
He's showing how he's grown for the rest of the book instead of growing.
Yeah.
And everybody else is getting to experience that growth as we experience the growth. Brilliant. Done. Well done, Brandon. Yes. Like,
probably getting sick of that applause.
Yeah, probably. But I mean, it warrants it. This warrants it.
It's good.
Like, so yeah, that's what I'm gonna say.
I like that. Yeah.
I love it.
Woohoo. All right.
Oh, I love it, but
General
I hate it
thoughts
at the same
about
time.
where would, going back to, I guess, to our
This is
tier
gonna be
list.
such a long episode.
Have fun editing. It's your turn. Anyway.
No.
Okay. So out of the first four books, where does this rank? I think this
I guess
ranks
it's
number
top. Yeah, this is top.
This is top of the first four books. I mean,
Yeah.
it doesn't get much better.
It really does. Well, it doesn't
In the
get
first
much
four
better.
books.
In the
it
first
doesn't.
better. Yeah. I thought you were saying
If you've watched our tier list, you already know
where we're gonna put number
book
5.
5 is the best. But
The optimal. Yeah, this one
but
is amazing.
Book 4 is so good.
Mm-hmm.
It's so amazing how he continues to raise the stakes in the story, but also deliver on them.
Yep.
It's so good.
Well done.
And also, like, the character arcs are fantastic and just... But also, the humor is good, too. Like,
phenomenal.
it's a good balance. Like, it can't all be sad and depressing. Like, sometimes you just gotta have Seth being like, what does the world mean? He's sitting under the stars.
And sometimes you have
know?
to have somebody get stabbed by an antler so you can make a tombstone
Make
joke.
a tombstone joke, yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, so
I love book 4.
book 4 is great. If you had to, right off the top of your head, rank the other 3 as well behind 4.
I might just go in descending order, honestly. 4, 3, 2, 1.
I might do some... No, yeah, 4, 3, 2, 1. I was thinking maybe 1 gets a little higher
Well,
than
book
2.
3 is very close behind book 4,
3
though.
is great.
For a while,
2 is,
book 3 was one of
2
my
is
favorites,
great.
I don't know.
1 is amazing. Like, when I think of
Honestly,
2, I think
It's
of
descending order.
Dale being best bro. Dale's best bro.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, book 4.
I'll never know when that day
We
has come because
have-
I'll never stop trying.
Oh, that's such a banger quote.
Such a bigger one.
Okay, well,
We slept on Dale for so long.
he's an easy target for jokes. I'm sorry.
Wow, we're bullies. All right, but yeah,
Anyway. We've talked about this before.
we have. We just angered that one commenter.
I'm sorry, guys. I do like Dale, okay? I just am in love with Warren. Can you blame me?
We are simple
Anyway,
girls with simple
yeah.
tastes.
Okay. But, hey, we made it to the end of book 4. Here we are.
1 year later.
Okay, well, we didn't have to bring up the timeline of how long it took us.
Yeah.
It's not going to take that long for book 5,
No,
I
it
guarantee
is not.
you.
We are motivated.
We've been wanting to get to book 5.
Oh,
I am
we've
chomping at the bit
We're ready.
to get to book 5. So this episode will come out, I think, right before
I think
at the end of February.
Yeah.
And then the next episode after it comes out will be after the Newell and Doran book is out. So our next episode after this one will be talking about the new Newell and Doran book.
So there will be spoilers. Consider yourselves warned. But we're looking forward
We'll
to
say that at the beginning of the next episode.
we will, but
too.
like just in case. But yeah.
But yeah, just expect that for the episode after this one.
Yeah.
Will be about the Newell and Doran book because it'll be out by then.
I'm looking forward to it.
So yeah,
It's gonna be a fun little breed.
It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
To read. 'Cause
Yeah.
It takes place after Dragon Watch, so we have to remember everything that happens in Dragon Watch. So
Honestly, a part of me almost wants to record my reaction, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna have like any if there's gonna be any earth shattering like put me in sobs moments. Like, part of me wishes I'd record myself.
I just think it'll be a fun
watching
ride,
Wind
and
Truth.
maybe
Yeah.
we'll have crazy stuff that happens. I don't know.
Yeah.
Brandon always
Patton
manages
shows
to put,
back up.
That would be insane.
I'm here for it.
Plays tennis with him. Okay, well, but anyway, that is it for this episode of the Knights of the Dawn podcast. Thank you guys so much for listening and tuning in. We really appreciate you. You can find, obviously, you can find this podcast anywhere you find your podcast. If you have any questions, leave us a comment on our YouTube channel or email us at knightsofthedawnpodcast@gmail.com. If you know anyone that also reads Brandon Mole's books, share this podcast with them if you want,
We welcome all.
We welcome all. We're trying to create a community here of people that love Brandon Mole.
And quick thing, honestly, guys, thank you so much for sticking with us through this. We just finished book 4. We're ready for book 5. We know you guys are too. So just wanted to give an extra thank you to you guys who've been here.
Thank you for your patience, honestly. We really appreciate you guys for sticking with us. And we're excited to get to the end of Fablehaven, finish the first series in this podcast.
We will repay your faith.
It's been 2 years in the making, so here we go. Until next time, I'm Megan.
And I'm Jessica.
See ya.
Drink the milk.